The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Yeah,
said
What
slurs
no.
did you just say, Trey?
I
Look,
didn't say slurs.
Look, Trey, look, I know that Pride Month is over, but no slurs, okay?
I'm not. No, I like. Look, not to pin roses on myself, but I made the Pride Month anthem. All right, with the
Oh,
LGBTQ Scooby Doo
Oh,
thing.
get a load of him. He supports the gays, and now suddenly he's the arbiter
I
of
do.
all LGBTQ.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they are cool.
You hear that, everybody? Have you heard Trey's stunning and brave take?
Sounds like you were about to say, but I
But
felt like you had more to say.
No. I just thought that cool. I was gonna say cool, and I was just gonna keep going, but I felt like I
The
made my point.
LGBTQ is cool, but they're not allowed on the show.
Oh fuck!
They're cool as long as you're not a woman. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
speaking of, literally just
I'm clicking
recently,
that.
I was trying to just recently I was trying to ask my sister for help, and I was gonna say, hey, make yourself useful and go do this, but I was like, that's mean. So I said, make yourself, and I paused and I went, really cool. And then her boyfriend's standing right there. Go, were you just about to tell her to make herself useful? I was like, shut up. She's gonna
Yeah, that's a sibling rivalry thing. You just commit to it.
I know. I should have.
Yeah, that's true.
Real said.
Oh yeah, no,
I
the
love-
evil things I've said to my really. I mean, you guys see the way I talk to her, right? Like that, basically.
Are you sure it's not the other way around?
What are you talking about? You don't speak to me in some rude way. You're a sweetheart half the time. The other half
This
the time, it's just normal back and forth conversation.
Why I like you, Frank. I can trust you to keep hush hush on all the
I'm
things that go on
I'm
behind the
so glad
scenes.
for you, Frank. I'm so glad that you can find joy in this, whatever this is.
I'm glad that.
I'm
Yeah, you
so
can find
glad.
joy.
Why,
It
Tom?
makes me
You're a
feel more better.
filthy fascist.
Say it, okay? Wrong one. You are not going to say fascist.
Gotta say it with
Fascist.
feeling.
So, are we gonna spend? Are we live? Actually,
We are live,
Um,
yes.
No, we're not.
um,
we're not.
No, we're not live. Okay.
Actually,
We're not live. Say everything bad right now.
I wish Dylan was
Hey,
a good
everything
friend.
bad.
All right. So, okay, fine. We'll start. Welcome everybody to Sunset Sonic podcast for the modern and classic age. With me today, we've just got a whole slew of people. Look how pop. But we're gonna start off. We're gonna go right to left. So Trey, we got Trey in the house.
Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing?
We also got the man who is, I don't know. Sorry, just got to be frank. Don't even bother with.
Hello. I wish Dylan was a good friend.
Yeah, Dylan's not here.
Amen,
Everybody-
sister.
I wish Dylan was a good friend. Hear me now.
Send prayers.
Can we get hashtag bad friend Dylan in the chat?
Hashtag
That'd be
Dylan is a
great.
bad friend in the chat.
Yes.
Please.
Let's do
He
it.
wanted to go to this thing with his blood relative family. Fine, you've picked your favorites. He's got the preference. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, his immediate family. What an idiot.
Returning is Ian Waffles.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
Hell yeah, thanks for joining us. And of course, that's everyone. And the rest.
No.
Yeah, it is. Let's get on. Let's go. Let's go.
We got Tom Topics. Hi.
Yeah, the backbone of this entire thing.
Okay.
You don't know the overtime that I work.
Tom.
In the mines.
Tom.
Here's the thing. What you need to do is not count the overtime.
I don't. I work for free regardless. So
Yeah, but we do not acknowledge the overtime. So if you could just not acknowledge the overtime, that'd be
Tom,
nice.
you need
does that put
to
you in a
do
bad
the
position
overtime.
financially, or? 'Cause
People
I'll
saying
keep
that
doing it.
there's something up with my mic. Is anyone else seeing that? What's wrong with the mic? What's the matter with it?
You sound fine to me.
Thank
You sound fine through Discord. I don't know if anything's like happening on like YouTube, like the streaming side of things. I mean, you sound great.
I think it's because my mic might be just louder than everyone else's. Maybe.
I'm too quiet. Hang
Probably
Yeah, turn
that.
yourself up. Turn up.
How about this? Is this better?
We liking this?
They're saying your
Um,
mic is
hello.
poor, so your mic needs to go get a job.
yeah, let me go give my microphone some money. Wiggle diggle. How about now? Is that better? Can you guys hear me now?
We gotta wait for like a minute before we can hear it all.
Yeah, it's like a 30-second delay or something.
Oh,
We're getting,
okay. It's
like,
just it's audio levels. Ian and Tom are considerably louder and clearer. Okay, sorry everybody for the technical hiccups. That is because Tom is higher up. Let's turn him down. Ian, turn you down to.
Quite literally, yeah.
And apparently your mic is cutting out at the end.
What the hell?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Me.
Let's see what we can do about this. I mean, you guys
We're a
can hear me
professional
okay, right?
podcast. We've only been doing this for 146 episodes.
You guys can hear me okay though? Nothing. I mean, like as in like you guys on the show. Is my stuff?
Yeah, you're
coming at
fine.
the end?
Fine to me.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
fine.
I can
on
hear you just
Discord.
fine.
Fine
Yeah,
for now.
forget the audience. Like, forget them. Like, as long as we
How
can hear
I
you,
hate
that's
them.
all- yeah.
I hate the audience.
Yeah. No, the audience is amazing. We love you.
No, we don't. Don't listen to him.
Wink, wink.
I'm
I
indifferent
don't
towards you.
care
Give
what
us money.
he
No.
thinks. Dylan doesn't attend the show, and look what happens. But okay. Before we begin, we do have some terms and conditions. If you're sending in super chats, they are read out at the very end of the show. So yeah, just wait a little, and then yeah, you'll get it read out. But don't worry, we are collecting them, we are reading them, and that's great. That's so good. That's so gravy, baby. And then the show is brought to you with the thanks to our great patrons. So you can join the patron. That's something you can do. I don't know where I was going with that. And I actually wanted to announce an exciting new perk just for Sunset City patrons. We now have in the Sunset City Discord server, which you only get through the patron, we now have a new channel called Call In, where you can get into kind of a queue to come and call in on the show for a short period of time. You can come and have a quick chat with us. And I'm thinking we might do like, you know, if there's like lots of you in there, we might do like 3, and they're picked at random. So nothing personal, kid, if you don't get picked. But yeah, so that's something you can do. You can do it right now. So if we do get some call-ins and stuff, we can have you guys in at the end of the show. But not every episode will have one. So that's a new concept that we're trying out here. So yeah, that's the terms and conditions out of the way. How is everybody doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me as usual.
Yeah, doing great.
Yeah.
Doing about as good as I
That
can.
was a hesitated yeah.
Yeah, they
Just-
make
Yeah.
you...
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
good, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, pup? How are you doing?
Oh, thank you. Finally, someone asked the real questions around here. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you. I'm all the better now that you're here, Trey.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Hell yeah. Hang on,
Don't do
wait.
that.
Hell yeah, Trey. All right, well, let's just get started. We've wasted enough time now playing with microphones and stuff. Where's
Brother.
Trey? I'm touching your foot under the table. Your socks
I
are so
can't even
soft.
see it. I'm wearing flip flops. That's not me.
That's why I said Frank, not Trey.
Oh, I thought you said Trey.
Did I say Trey? Fuck it.
I
Forget.
thought you did.
It doesn't matter. We got news. We got news to discuss. So we're gonna start off.
With
Yeah, I am.
with everyone.
And braiding everyone's hair in the treehouse. So, starting off, classic Amy's IHOP skin is now available everywhere for free in Sonic Superstars. You no longer have to go to IHOP to earn enough piss points to unlock IHOP Amy.
Thank God. Honestly.
And this was previously only for console owners or whoever owned it on console. So if you're on Switch, Xbox, or PlayStation, but now it's also on PC. So if you're a PC player who has Sonic Superstars, there you go. You can go pick it up right now for free.
Now that's
Hooray.
great, no? Sega, I'm gonna let you finish, but you're gonna have to release those comic skins at some point.
Yeah, I want those. Holy
Please,
shit.
please. Like I have to think that there's like some glitch with them that like is like irreversible or something with those skins. Like there has to
I heard
be.
I heard it messes with the performance, and I kind of want to experience that because I think it would be funny. But I also like the comic skins; they look really cool.
I mean, I haven't had any issues with them on my Switch. Maybe they're just
Can you
okay
have
on
them
Switch.
your Switch?
I've got them on my Switch. I have no issues with them. The anti-aliasing on Switch, obviously being non-existent, makes them look a little bit crusty, but other than that, I think they look pretty nice. Better than the main game skins, anyway, in my opinion. So yeah, Tom, you're a huge Sonic Superstars fan. You love the 2D Sonic. How do you feel about this?
Oh well, I don't really care, pup. I'm just glad that you. But I know that you got the skin. I know you really went out of your way to get the skin. So how do you feel about this? I think is the better question to ask. Here.
Well, Sonic Superstars. When I hit the download button on the retro style Amy skin, I didn't say open the game. So if you hear any Sonic Superstars sounds, I'm really sorry. But I mean, yeah, I wanted to get, like, the game complete. I want to have a complete copy of it with everything in there. So I did kind of ask around. Eventually, Wayne, his boss, won the day. He sent me the Amy skin. Didn't ask for anything back because he's just the sweetest. And, yeah, so I have it already on Switch. But, I mean, I know a lot of people are pissed about this, but you still got some pancakes or whatever out of it, right? You know, you still got some breakfast, you know?
I think the reason why people are mad is because they had to go to IHOP, and they wouldn't have gone to IHOP if they didn't have to. Like,
why would you be mad about that? Any excuse to eat, and I'll be happy.
I don't mean to be a hater, but IHOP's not that great, you know. So being forced to go to
that's
IHOP,
easy for the American to say. When I went over to the States and I had an IHOP, I was like, yeah, this is gonna kill me. I love it.
You probably went to a better IHOP. The one that I went to was mediocre.
Look, just having a place where I can get shit like bacon and pancakes and stuff. Oh, stuff we don't have in the UK. We only have grain. Like, it makes me just so happy to be able to have that, you know?
The only thing here are just mushy peas and just 3-week-old bread.
There's the stereotypes of, like, no, it's not even beans on, it's just grain on toast, man. Like, that's all we have.
Grains on toast.
Not even grains, just a singular grain. That's
just
it.
one single grain.
I wouldn't have, like, I never went to IHOP for the Amy skin. I didn't really care all that much. So, like, but I know, like, if they had a Waffle House collab, I wouldn't have complained about that, even if it ended up being free, because Waffle House is pretty good in my opinion.
And I wonder what other American food chain restaurant they could have gone to for a collaboration. Yeah, it must be Denny's. Yeah, I think it's Denny's.
Mario's Pizzeria.
Yeah, Denny's is a place you end up at. It's not a place you actively go
That's
to.
not fucking true. When I went to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo with
I don't know if that's
with Nick, Suris, and just the gang that we all would just hang out with while we were there, we all went to Denny's. It was fantastic. I don't get what's wrong with Denny's. I think it's great. I just think it's neat.
Well, I mean, more power to you, I guess. Like, I don't know, Cracker Barrel? Would that be a restaurant that Sega would have collabed?
Trey, we said no slurs when we're live, especially not the most offensive one of all of them.
Chain, Pup. It's a restaurant chain.
No, you can't say barrel. Oh no, you got me saying it too now.
Okay, Pup, you're so stupid.
Offensive to Sonic.
We're gonna have to censor this
bad
podcast.
memory.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read your new name is
Crackers.
Cracker Barrel 64.
Cracker Barrel is 60.
Final Fantasy 14 doing Mountain Dew and KFC. Okay, that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. I would not associate Final Fantasy 14 with those brands. I would associate Call of Duty with Mountain Dew because that was the big thing at the time.
I mean, it makes so much sense. I've got a can of 7-Up right now. And you ever wonder why they call it 7-Up? Like the drink, why they call it 7-Up?
No, I have no idea.
I'm gonna give you some trivia facts right now because I know that a lot of people are gonna be wondering this. Because like, why would you call a drink that? The 7 refers to the variety of lemons, I believe. There's 7 lemons, or 7 lemon types anyway. And up is short for uplift, which the drink used to be called. So there you go. That's why it's called 7-Up.
Ah, okay.
So it's not a way to get 7 more lives. That's
no, it is. Yeah, they would not give you 7 extra lives. I mean,
Well,
Tom, if you want to test it, go drink a 7-Up and jump in front of a bus by all means. I've been trying to get you to do that for years anyway. But like,
don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Oh my god. There have been weird like food collabs in the past. There was Guitar Hero in KFC. I remember that vividly.
How can you remember that vividly? That was 1987.
It was 2009, Pup.
Might as well be
So
1987.
that's probably what, Guitar Hero 3
No, Guitar Hero, like I think it's
or
World Tour.
World Tour?
Yeah, it's
Oh
World
God,
Tour.
I forgot
Yeah.
all about that game.
Yeah, the game that introduced drums into the Guitar Hero landscape.
It introduced drums. They introduced like the weird looking guitar controller that had like the slider.
I still have it. Yeah.
Me too.
I thought you hated
Sliders?
sliders in video games, Frank.
2 and 3 are the best games. Just saying. If-
2 and 3 have the best set lists for sure.
Yes.
They have the best like song variety. Rock Band 2 I
Yes,
think is my
they do.
favorite rhythm game, just like bar none. Rock Band 2
What,
and Rock Band 3.
not Fortnite Festival or whatever it's called.
I've played a little bit of it,
Fortnite.
and like
Frank,
it's
Cake
bad.
by the Ocean, 10 times. It's the one song we know.
Talk to me, baby.
Copyright
And there's
Trey.
the copyright claim.
Yeah, fuck's sake, Trey.
Yeah, because I sang it so well. That
This joke
it
happens
was like-
every fucking episode.
It-
It is.
It
No,
does.
because Trey, here's the thing: they can copyright claim covers as well.
Yeah, this is what I've been saying,
Cover-
and you just covered it.
That's
But
okay.
that's
I've already
not-
had like a few. I've had a few copyright claims over the past week, anyways.
Yeah, you've been having a
Yeah,
hard
man.
time with like Shovel Knight and
Nick-
stuff.
Shovel Knight on Twitch and Mega Man 9 on YouTube because Capcom did a full playthrough on their channel a couple years ago.
See, this is
And
why
then
we
for
like
Shovel
Sonic.
Knight-
He doesn't do that.
No,
Yeah.
Sonic. It really depends on what game you play.
True. I mean,
It
if you're
also depends
playing if you're playing Frontiers on normal or easy mode, when the credits roll, expect to get copywrecked because Vandalize will get you copywrecked.
Well, I muted anyways because I don't like the song.
It also
But
depends on
oh,
the,
he doesn't like Vandalize. What's going on here?
I don't
It
like
also
One OK
depends on-
Rock. I don't think they're very good.
Would you just say they are one okay band and not a good? That's why they're called One Okay Rock and not One Good Rock.
One mid rock.
Thank you, Trey.
very welcome.
You're the only one who knows that button exists. So
Yeah, I use you have to use it sparingly. If you like spam it too much, it loses its flavor.
yeah, of course. Yeah, like some jokes. Yeah, you gotta be careful. They might get
Yeah,
ran into the
it's-
ground, and you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's also a timing thing. Also with Sonic, it depends on like oddly enough the medium that
Yeah,
you're
you
like.
you definitely
posting,
can't just
like-
make sounds out of context and have it be funny. It
So,
wouldn't, couldn't happen.
The copyright claim thing for Sonic games, it really depends because there's going to be a third party, there's some random ass third party that will claim it. So that's why some
Yeah.
Sonic titles will have an issue. Like once in a while, I'll have an issue with Adventure or Sonic 1 or Sonic Mania or something.
Really?
Well, and to be fair, like this is just like a possibility with anything that we don't own, quote unquote. Like everything is subject to
Yeah.
be copyright claimed. You know,
At
I mean,
least
people
the,
who do animation for Sonic stuff have been dealing with that for years at this point,
Yeah,
and it's
and
ridiculous.
the thing is that with Shovel Knight and Mega Man 9, those were actually from the rights holders. So Mega Man is from Capcom. Jake Kaufman, who does the soundtrack for Shovel Knight, claimed that one. But then the Sonic ones, it's always like some random ass third party that it's like a fake. It's it's a fake third party claim. So you just fight that
Yeah.
one.
So we kill
Hell
them.
yeah, we kill them.
Absolutely.
Okay, back to the news. So here's quite a big one. Here's one that's very exciting to me. Is that Sonic X Shadow Generations revealed its classic Sonic Legacy skin. And once again, like how the modern Sonic Legacy skin, being the Dreamcast one, was kept to pre-orders only, this one is mailing list only, so you have to be on Sega's mailing list to get it. I kind of wish they'd just make these like really easily available, because otherwise, like if you don't pre-order it or you don't get on the mailing list, you'll never get it unless they pull an IHOP Amy on all of us. But even then, like, yeah,
Well,
But,
you can't rely on that. You can't really. Yeah.
that's the
They
thing.
probably will. They will most likely release the Dreamcast Sonic skin at a later date, and you'll probably have to pay like $2 or $3 for it.
Or they'll release Sonic X Shadow Generations Digital Deluxe Plus.
Yeah, something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
jeez, I fucking hate their digital deluxe system.
They're
It's
like
awful.
It's a horrible Sega-wide problem that they got going on everywhere. It's
Sega
And it happens
also,
every fucking time. Like, it happens
Yeah.
every time. I get so mad about it because I would love to, like you were saying earlier, Pup, with Superstars, you'd like to have a complete game. Me too. So when I see shit like this, I get so pissed off about it because it's like, well, goddamn, like, what are you gonna do about, like,
Well, it's also why I
can't you
haven't
just
like gotten the
make it available
digital.
for everyone?
I haven't gotten the digital deluxe upgrade for Superstars on Switch yet, because I mean I already have that on PC. But as I say, I'd like to have a complete version of it. But the reason I've been holding off is because I'm just like, as soon as I get that, they'll announce like a plus or something. But then again,
and then
the
God-
pluses have. Sorry, go on.
Oh, and then God forbid if you want like a physical copy of it, because they just say fuck you to them.
Well, that's the weird thing though, is because like with Superstars, I don't think they'll do like a plus because the pluses have generally been a vehicle to get those physical releases done as well. And I mean, Plus already launched with a physical, but also not Plus, Superstars already launched with a physical. And also, I don't think anyone would buy a Superstars Plus because no one bought the original. So like,
I
know.
would buy it on sale.
Yeah.
That
I
is all.
feel like you'd have to kind of press me to do a Superstars Plus.
So for the longest time, I actually held out on buying the Plus upgrade for Sonic Origins until I saw it on sale once, and I was like, you know what? It's about as close as to what I would pay for it. I think I'm fine with it. I think they had it for $6 when I was saying like, oh hey, if you bought the digital deluxe for Sonic Origins Plus, make the rest of the Plus upgrade $5 because they already own 2/3 of that bundle. And
Yeah,
you know,
that's they really
it took
fucked.
a very long time for that.
That was another thing as well, though, is like Digital Deluxe is meant to be like, oh, our most loyal players, they can, you know, get all this extra stuff early. This is really for the fans and stuff. And then it's like later on, it's like, fuck you, buddy. Pay again.
Fuck you, buddy. Pay $10. Oh, what? You already own 2/3 of it? Well, we delisted that digital deluxe thing. So now there's Sonic Origins and Sonic Origins Plus's the Plus upgrade, or you could just buy the whole thing at once for $40.
Like, what's the opposite of
Sega,
you
sometimes.
snooze? What's the opposite of you snooze, you lose? Is it like
I don't know. All I know is that I just got burned on that deal.
get
I feel like I
woke,
got
go
ripped off.
broke? Says Sega.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Well, the thing that really bothers me is that, and I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it, is that I think it's like the PS4 or the PS5, you get it 3 days earlier. Huh? How is that even allowed?
Oh, what is that for?
Oh,
Sonic X Shadow? Because I
They-
think
they did that for Sonic Colors Ultimate as well.
Yeah,
where
if you
got
get
the
digital-
deluxe, you played it like a week ahead of time.
What the
and
heck?
Or it's like,
Why is
the
that a
PS
thing? That's terrible.
the PS5 and PS4 version of Sonic X Shadow Generations has the prologue animations exclusive to it or something, like
Yeah,
extended
which is also
versions.
ridiculous.
And it's like that. The thing is, they're
weird.
I've been saying for ages, put those animations in with the game, and now they've finally done it, but they've put this asterisk next to it. It's like, Sega, does everything have to have a monkey's paw?
Yes,
Apparently
apparently.
so. We can't have everything nice and just leave it at that.
It also seems weird because like this is a what is it? Like a
Multi-platform.
multi-platform game. I don't know why I was almost going to say multi-platinum. It's like no, it's multi-platform. so having like well, I don't know, because like back in the day, you also had like the Soul Calibur differences in ports, where it's like the GameCube version had Link and
Well,
you know,
also
stuff
that's
like
because
that.
that's because of licensing. You know, Nintendo's not going to
Yeah.
let them put Link in the PlayStation version. You're not going to have who is it, Spawn in the Nintendo version. So that one makes a bit of sense. But this one is just like Sega owns the rights.
It's the same
to
property.
everything being put in same property.
Yeah.
Everything's being put into it. So there is a bit of a difference.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I'm just expecting it just to be on YouTube within like an hour of it being released.
Oh, absolutely,
So like,
absolutely.
and they have to know that that's gonna happen, which makes it even more perplexing.
That's
that
probably
they
partly
would-
why
they're-
they're doing the exclusivity thing, though, is because it's like it's the illusion of
Having
the
to get away with
PlayStation
it.
people getting a little something extra when ultimately, or should I say, Colors ultimately, they will just be able to find it anyway online.
God damn it.
It's the illusion of a gift when they're just really, you know, trimming off bits of the turkey and then feeding it back to you later.
Yeah,
But
timed exclusive of 30 minutes.
oh no, or the timed exclusive that was the comic skins on Steam for like 10 minutes. But-
it's funny. Sega's doing the trend of shit that other people did about 10 years ago. Remember when Capcom was getting a bunch of flack for leaving a lot of their stuff out of the game, even though it was already on the disc?
My favorite fucking thing in the world is still always going to be movement of the menu islands in Sonic Origins, or change the little sprite animation when you're in the gallery.
Do not even, because
Look, did you see?
God.
Okay,
Did you see
excited.
Sorry, go on.
I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
No, go on.
Oh, okay, cool. I was actually kind of excited for the island camera control, because I thought you could rotate the entire thing. So I'm like, okay,
Yep.
you're gonna see some cute Easter eggs behind it or something like that. Gonna see probably
would've
some new
loved that.
characters. That's what I thought was gonna happen. Meanwhile, all you get is just it could have just been a still image, and it would have been the same experience where you just pan and zoom in and just pan around. I'm like, I could do this just with my TV settings. Why did I no? This is dumb.
I need to
And I
send
was
you
one of the idiots
guys.
that bought the digital deluxe or whatever.
Same. I need to send you guys a thing. I bet it was for a recent video, but I'll put it in chat and then I'll put it on screen as well. Let me just find that.
When do we
I
get
don't know
when do we get
where
the
it
Big
is.
Cheese collection.
Sonic and the Big Cheese collection coming soon. Or they could do.
Yeah, when do we get that? Seriously, you cowards.
They should release Sonic Classic collection, where you get Sonic Mania, Sonic Origins, and Sonic Superstars. I feel like
So that'd
low-key
be
that's
worth
what
it
they
for-
want to do.
I feel like Mania and Superstars would probably carry that whole thing, because actually, no,
it's-
I don't think they would.
I
don't
think
they
it'd
would
be
do it.
cool, because it's this is the classic games pseudo chronologically, minus Sonic 4,
I
but that doesn't count.
The
But,
modern classics.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the back rooms now. I made this. Wait for it. There it is. I'll put it on screen too.
Third act for each stage.
Okay, I love this.
Special stages, title screen animation, cheat
And a
menu
cheat
for
menu.
the Ouya. Not the Ouya.
Oh, the best part. It's not even on Steam. It's an Epic Game Store PC exclusive.
Oh my god.
Why is this
Oh,
not?
that fucking hurts.
You should have just put the De Nouveau logo or whatever it's called, in
Oh,
here
you know I
somewhere.
should have. And then
Yeah.
finally,
Blast
so
that in the
Denuvo
background.
toggle.
It's a plaster in the background, sponsored by Denuvo or something.
and then one more thing.
I would have put the Denuvo logo right next to the Sega one.
I also
Just
made
have,
this.
the shaking hands emoji.
Sending to the back rooms now. There you
Oh
go.
yeah.
Oh, that as well, yeah.
Let me read this. All right. What the fuck do you mean it's mostly 2D? Sonic 4 isn't even a bad game. What do
Here
y'all
you
feel
go.
about Sonic 4? Do you think it's a bad game?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Resounding yes.
Absolutely.
mean-
Garbage title.
Episode 2 is a little bit better, but it's not
Garbage.
not that
Trash.
not that better.
I made a joke about this on Twitter before I was corrected and realized that we're still in the bad future. We're in the bad timeline, where apparently the 360 games the ones that are not backwards compatible are going to be delisted at the end of the month, or that store is going to be inaccessible at the end of the month. And I thought Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2 were going to be on those as well. I was like, yes, finally, we're healing a bit. So that shows you how much I hate Sonic 4.
My buddy Dom asked me for the full game list of what would be on the Sonic Turds collection. And so I've got a full list here of what would be on there.
Okay.
So we got Sonic Jam on the Gamescom. I think that's pretty safely unanimous.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a bit more controversial, but Sonic 2 8-bit.
Actually, I was gonna tell you, but apparently,
Go on.
I have come across some Sonic Jam defenders.
As in
Sonic Jam
Gamecom
Gamecom
ones?
defenders.
Gamecom?
No, I'm just fucking with you.
I was about to say,
okay.
like, they don't exist.
Oh.
But okay, so yeah, you get Sonic Jam Gamecom, Sonic 2 the 8-bit version, Sonic Blast, Sonic Labyrinth, Sonic
But-
3D Blast. Sorry, go on.
But the Master System version is better.
No, the
still a bad
screen
game.
crunch does not fix the issue with Sonic 2. It's just too hard. Sonic.
Also,
Sorry, go on.
I am going to say Sonic Jam on Gamecom is a terrible game, and if you if you want to tell me that it's a skill issue, I have played that game without defeating a bad Nick. I am automatically better than every player who has ever played it,
You heard it here first,
aside
folks.
from speedrunners.
Naturally, we've got.
Why would you do that to yourself? What spurs one on to?
Money. I wanted ad revenue, and I like using money and
That's
owning
very
it.
justified.
Power, the
so
fame, the repertoire. Yeah.
naturally,
I still hear the music when I try to like have some kind of silence. I just hear the music very faintly.
furthermore,
music in that game. Anyway,
Yes.
naturally, we've got Sonic Genesis GBA, Sonic Chronicles: The Dark
must.
Brotherhood, Sonic
Fair.
4 Episode 1,
Okay.
Sonic Free Riders.
Wouldn't
Okay.
Ken Penders do something about it? About,
Doesn't matter.
Chronicles?
Look,
We'll
Fair
get
enough.
there. We
Just-
will get there when
Fair
we get
enough.
there.
we'll get
Okay.
And I know Dylan would hate me, but he's not here, so fuck him. Sonic Lost World 3DS.
It deserves to be on there.
It does, I agree. Because just it plays
game.
well, that doesn't mean that I could excuse that level design. If you've got a game that
It plays
has
well.
good
Yeah.
controls, but all of the levels are complete puppy dog shit, it's worthless in my opinion. But I also kind of mentioned that in the museum you'd get like episodes 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Knuckles.
oh, the TV show. Oh,
Mhm.
great. Yeah. Oh my
You
gosh.
mean the Wade TV show? I will link in the
Week
comments.
16, everybody, week 16.
Hey, you started that one, okay?
I know I did. I'm not saying that negatively.
You know what? I will say my very first positive thing about the Knuckles TV show. So, if anybody remembers episode 5, they play the song "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangsta" by the Ghetto Boys.
Yes.
That is the same song that is in the movie Office Space.
Yep.
And after a while, I eventually started getting recommendations to watch that movie, and I finally did. So there you go, Knuckles TV show. You did one good thing, because Office Space is a good movie.
There you go.
Well, hell yeah. Moving along. So, so here's the thing. We never actually talked about that Legacy Classic Sonic skin.
Yeah, it's gonna be the it's gonna be like the low poly Sonic that's similar to that of the good
The
Sonic
Jam.
Jam.
Yeah, so
Sonic
it's-
Jam
it's
and,
like a
3D
hybrid-
Blast Saturn.
Well, it's like a hybrid of the Sonic Jam 3D World Sonic and Sonic the Fighters in some way, and that he's got that sort of very sort of blocky look to him. There's no smoothing on him. Because in Sonic Jam, they
I like
still
it.
had a bit of smoothing. I love the way it looks. It's one of those things where they've
Yeah.
clearly... This is clearly not a model that would have been possible on the Saturn or anything like that, so it's not like they've just lifted the old model. They've made a brand new model where it's like a deliberate art style, and it looks really cute, in my opinion. I love the way it looks.
good.
And it's funny
I-
because last week we were talking about like Sonic Adventure remakes. Like last week was something we were talking about. And I mentioned taking that low poly crunchy sort of jankiness of Sonic Adventure, turning it into a deliberate art style choice. These skins are kind of proving that that can work. And it's like when that game comes out, I will be playing the Sonic Generations part almost exclusively with the Dreamcast and Saturn skins.
Oh, me
Yeah.
too.
Oh, absolutely.
The low poly 3D skin, low poly 3D look. I always thought it had like a certain charm to it, and I loved it. There's a lot of modern games, or a couple of modern games that are out that are like 3D platformers that have that low poly look, and I like the way it looks. Like it looks nice.
Yeah.
No other way
Well,
to
I
say it. It looks
think-
good.
It might be overselling it, but I don't think so. Which is that I think like having that skin for Classic Sonic is just going to like make playing all those levels even more fun for me. Because I don't know about you guys, but like whenever I get like for example, a series I'm a big fan of is Kingdom Hearts. And one of the joys of that game is when you go to different Disney worlds, and sometimes they'll give you different aesthetics for Sora, Donald, and Goofy. And like that's what I'm looking at as I'm playing the game, and like visuals and sound and all those things are really valuable just beyond gameplay. So just even like the fact that I'll have the Sonic Jam skin, I think that's just going to make the classic Sonic levels even more fun for me. Just because like the aesthetic has now been warped in a way that's super cool. So I'm really excited for it. I think it's like genuinely going to make just like even the Generations portion, forget the Shadow portion, like just even better for me. So I'm really excited for it.
I've
Yeah,
always...
I'm feeling the same way
will-
for. I'm feeling the same way for also that the modern Sonic skin where you look like SA1. Like doing that in Speed Highway is gonna be really good. I'm gonna love that a
Oh
lot.
hell yeah!
Yeah.
That's gonna
that's-
really hit the nail.
That's a good point. I do want to say, I do hope that they actually do the the low poly supersonic skins for both of these skins as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
awesome.
Oh shit!
Although-
that would be
Like
amazing.
like the Sonic R for classic, like Sonic R Supersonic. That would
Although
be sick.
I hope that they
And
will
you
make Supersonic less fucking worthless in Generations because, dude, in Generations, Supersonic was worthless. Like, classic Sonic did not move any
Especially
faster or jump any
classic
higher.
Sonic. Yeah.
No, modern Sonic, I'd say, is even worse because, like, if you boost as modern Sonic, you get put in that flight state, and your rings go down at like 10 rings per second or whatever. And
Yeah,
the
it's
thing that
ridiculous.
happened more often than not is he'd be in his flight state, fly over a bottomless pit where I'd otherwise be platforming, and then flick out of his super form and die. Like, it's just a liability. Like,
I understand. I think I'm not as like I don't feel as strongly about that because it is like a reward at the end of the game. So like, and it is something you
that's
gotta
what I'm
kind of
saying.
equip
It should
yourself.
be a reward. It
Oh,
should
God.
be good.
The Sonic Jam Classic Sonic doing the homing attack, because that is something you can unlock in Sonic Generations in the original game. So that's going to be
Give him-
interesting.
okay. Give him the homing shield from 3D Blast.
That'd be awesome.
That would be sick. That would solve that immediately for me.
It's
at the
funny
very
though because
least.
I've kind of always thought like, what would I like for the future of classic Sonic more than anything else? Like, because obviously they're doing modern games and classic games side by side. You know what I want?
Stupid friends.
There's that, but I would love it. I would love it if they got Evening Star back in to do a new classic Sonic game, but it's fully 3D and it's in that crunchy Sega Saturn style, momentum based, but obviously to give Sonic the homing attack because it's hard to jump on enemies without it. But like yeah, just
Isn't
use that.
Isn't that just Penny's big breakaway?
Yeah, that literally is. Yeah, literally, yeah.
No, it isn't.
Not
No,
entirely, not entirely. Hold
Penny's
on,
Big
not
Breakaway is
entirely.
not like a Sonic game. Like that's a
No,
misconception.
it's-
No,
Like,
obviously
it's-
not. But the like, it would be similar. It would be similar.
The
well,
idea
yeah, but
is
I mean,
there.
you'd have like similar sort of camera angle kind of thing.
But
But
they
that's
can do it. They can do it. I fully believe they can do it. They're fully capable of doing it. But...
yeah. I mean, Penny's Big Breakaway was excellent, and it's part of why I would trust Evening Star to really nail it. But the thing is, it wouldn't just be Penny's Big Breakaway because Penny's Big Breakaway is nothing like a Sonic game. Like ultimately, it's
Yeah, no, it's got its differences where it counts.
momentum's a
But, like,
factor,
yeah.
but like
Quite
it's,
a few of the
I'm not
mechanics
saying
might
I
be
would have
shared.
wanted. I want that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it would be good.
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
would
not a
love
bad
it
thing.
if they announced a new 3D classic Sonic game because that would finally mean the death of that pesky 2D Sonic that Tom prefers.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, here's what I would want.
Body once.
I would love for them to what is it? Like make the 3D classic Sonic game like in the Sonic Jam style. And then also if they can release like a version of Sonic Extreme as like an unlockable.
What's wrong with you?
Sonic Extreme Adventure.
No. Well, it's just for me I know Sonic Extreme looking at it I'm like this looks like a pretty bad time. I'm not going to lie. But I'm very curious about it. And I think it would be cool for preservation's sake to just go ahead and just like
It would be cool.
have that out there.
Or
be
maybe
cool.
include it as like an extra.
I was
Well, that's what I'm
saying.
saying,
Kind of
but
unlockable.
Yeah, include. Yeah, well, that's what
Oh,
I was
okay,
saying.
okay.
Include it
Yeah.
as like a unlockable. Yeah.
Speaking of
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
like
that- no.
spacey kind of fisheye ass kind of planet stuff, I was talking to stupid Tom Topics last night when we were playing Sonic Frontiers together, and I was playing
Why?
the final cyberspace stage of Final Horizon, which is the anti-gravity one, and I was thinking, would I kind of vibe with a Sonic game that takes place entirely in space and has low gravity for everything? And I was kind of like,
And
you
I'd
know what?
argue
If the game's built around it, I could probably kind of eat that. I could probably enjoy that.
Well, that's like
I think that would
everything,
get-
right? You know.
I think
Like,
that
as
would
long
get
as it's-
tiresome after a while.
Well, like
Or
as long as
just-
it's built around the mechanics, it'll be fun.
In
but,
an
like,
open
that's with
zone
everything.
game, have one open zone that's in space where the gravity's lower, and you can just fling
okay,
yourself sky high. That
yeah,
would be
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that could work better, but I think eventually it would kind of like it would be so much slower. It would just be so much slower than all the other zones that it'd start feeling like a hindrance.
Not
That's why I think
necessarily,
it wouldn't
because if
work.
you use your stomp effectively, then you could kind of make it more snappy. But I was also
And it would
thinking,
still be better than Chaos Island.
how cool would it be if, like, the final open zone of Sonic Frontiers was the end? You're actually on the purple planet, and the gravity's lower and stuff, and it's got way more enemies. Oh man, that would have been cool.
Yeah, in that scenario, yes, that would be really good. Yeah. If they did something like that, then yeah, I could get behind that.
Like, it could even be like, rather than a final boss, it's a final open zone, and your objective is just to destroy parts of it through various different
so you're
things.
just a mosquito, just rummaging around on the skin of the end, just trying to.
The missed potential of Sonic Frontiers.
In the previous open zones, like, the whole thing is exploring them, but you could make the whole point is you gotta destroy the fuck out of this one. Like, everything you do, every rail you grind, destroys a part of it. That would be so cool.
It would be like a better version of Unleashed's final boss, sort of. When you're going along the shield.
Oh, along the Gaia Golem. Yeah.
Except it'd be much more interactive, and that would be good.
You know what?
Yeah.
Let's make Sonic Frontiers again. Remake time.
Sonic Turtles Collection. Let's go.
Hey, I've been coding for about a month. I can do it.
Give me the art direction, please. Please give me the art direction.
The art direction. We're remaking Sonic Frontiers here. The art direction will be given to this pig.
Oh, of course.
We're gonna get that Unreal Engine.
Here's the thing. I feel like they didn't go far enough with the art direction because they did have people from the Phantasy Star Online 2 team working on like the maps and stuff like that. And I love the way that game looks. If they went all the way with Frontiers with that aesthetic, like the PSO2 aesthetic, I feel like that would have been great. But they look, when you look at Sonic Frontiers' concept art, there was clearly a vision for how they wanted that game to look. But it feels like ultimately, like, they were like, okay, yeah, we're going to look at these, and now we're just going to look at a bunch of existing assets and just chuck them in there. But, like, I'm putting it in the backrooms for you boys to see. There's definitely a vision there. Like, if the game looked like this, that would look great. Especially that second one. That's raw as fuck, but...
Yeah, they were cooking here. I just don't know what happened between this and the full release, but... I
think what happened was, A, budget. They realized... we gotta just kind of work with other things, and B, well, obviously the original intention was for it to be more of a fighting game on the open zone. They didn't add things like the platforms and the rails and stuff until way later into production because they wanted it to feel more like a Sonic game.
I think that's because people also said, they got the feedback from like testers and that saying this feels really boring. You're just running around open zones. They just hastily added in all the rails, all the platforms.
What happened was kind of like original intent was like, okay, the cyberspace stuff is where the platforming is. That's where your conventional kind of Sonic gameplay is. But the open zone is going to be entirely fighting-based, collecting gears and stuff. But yeah, as Tom says, playtesters didn't like that. They were like, it doesn't feel like Sonic. It feels kind of just dull. So it was like, I think it was like the last few months of development, they basically added a fuck ton of railings and platforms and stuff, and they didn't make proper LOD models for that, so when the draw distance is far out, they just disappear as opposed to turning into LOD models. So, like, yeah, there's a huge amount of, like, reason why it looks that way, but it doesn't change the fact that it's fuck ugly. Like...
those playtesters refuse to trust the process. I feel like that happens a lot.
I mean, to be honest, I am glad they're there, because I do like playing those bits, and I would much rather do that than... just fight the enemies in the open zone. Like, the experience here, I think, is better. But it does come at the cost of the appearance. And they could make it work, because there is a mod that I've seen someone work. I can't remember who it is. But they've actually made it so that platforming stuff looks diegetic and is in the same art style as the rest of the thing. Go figure. And it looks really good. So it's...
I gotta find this mod.
Yeah, I'll try and find it somewhere. I'll find a pic. I know where there's a picture of it.
Funny also, like last night, you were using other mods as well to improve basic parts of the game. It's crazy how a majority of Frontiers you need to install mods to make it an actual really enjoyable experience all the time.
Well, it was like things like the homing attack and things like
the homing attack look really good.
The lock on like the air dash and stuff. Here's a picture of that mod for the backrooms, but I don't want to put it on the stream just because I can't credit who made it because I don't know who it is. But
I've seen this before. I've seen it floating around, and like honestly,
wow,
it just seems like a very simple fix. Well, I say simple very loosely because I know that there's a lot that goes into.
Yeah, obviously you need to think about like staging of where it would look. But, like, the concept of that is so infinitely better. Make it feel much more lived in, which is one of my main problems with how empty and desolate Frontiers just feels. The thing is so bland.
Even now, it's easier to say, oh, that could be a highway that the ancients used to travel around on. You know, like
yeah, it's simple things like that. Just improve it so much.
whereas all
I know
that nonsense
Dream
that we
can't see it,
had
but still.
in the final thing, they're trying to say, oh, the ancients had this, that, and the other. It's like that doesn't look like it. Like
Also, and like, look, I know in terms of like Sonic lore that like there's got to be a reason for everything, but apparently the reason why the rails are floating is because that's like Sonic's imagination or something. and,
No,
like,
it
that's how
was,
explained.
That's really stupid.
it
That's so
it kind of is and isn't. So basically, what it was like cyberspace is based around the person's interpretation as they go into it, and Sage's explanation was it's bits of cyberspace leaking out into the real world.
But
So he's just so he's it's
correct
dumb.
me if
He's
I'm wrong. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, wasn't there a cutscene where what is it?
yeah.
Where
I know what you're.
Sonic-
Yeah,
where
they
where
it's
Sonic
safe
was like,
explained
why is
it.
there so many like floating rails? And Sage is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because
Like,
she
isn't
can't
that, like-
see them because they're not part of her cyberspace. So, like, Sonic is basically just levitating through the air, and at no point is Sage like, what the fuck?
I,
It's like,
I
oh,
wonder
I
if you
think-
think
like too.
like,
He's a
I
flying
think like this is just me, but I think we've gotten to a point with lore where it's like we can just have the benefit of the doubt. Like, not everything needs to have like an I don't need to know where the origin of the springs come from. And,
Sometimes
stuff
the
like
more you
that.
explain
Like,
something, the less believable it is. Like when they tried to have an in-universe reason for the HUD. Like, what are all these
you
white
wanna-
icons I can see? It's like, oh, that's the ancients interfering. And the thing is, the answer to all of it is the same. Why does shit pop in and out? Oh, the ancients. Why is there a heads-up
Yes.
display? The ancients.
So
is there a heads-up
that's-
display? Is so funny.
I feel like they're trying to. I feel like they're trying to do a thing what like platformers did like back in the day, where they kind of broke the fourth wall. It's like, oh, press the circle button to do this or whatever. Like in
What
Sonic
fucking
the Hedgehog. I think they
button?
were trying to go for that,
Comes
but
off
they
so
didn't
wrong, though.
exactly do it right.
But to be fair, the platformers of yesteryear that did that were like being kind of tongue in cheek about it. They were like being like self-aware, like, yeah, we know it's a video game. It was a joke. But in the
Yeah.
Sonic universe, it's played completely straight. At least that's what it feels like to me. They could just be, joking around, but from my understanding, like they seem to play it completely straight, which just makes it worse in my opinion. I don't know.
vibe I get from it is it's Flynn going like, I'm doing my best, guys. I'm trying to help you. Like
Oh, yeah,
they
I don't blame them. I don't
It's
blame
like
them at all.
Sega get like the audience feedback saying there's a pop-in problem here, and they're like, all right, we got to get to the relevant department to fix this. Ian Flynn, could you write something in there?
They're not decoders or programmers. Ian Flynn, the story
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, and I
Please
think he
explain
might be
it.
wrong, but didn't he not
It's
even
like
he
anytime-
didn't even write most of the Final Horizon update?
He didn't write most of Final Horizon's little flavor text things. And actually,
so maybe
someone
that will
pointed
be
out
him.
someone pointed out that you can actually tell a difference, especially when it comes to Knuckles, because like in all of Knuckles' little NPC dialogue bits on Ares Island, he comes across as kind of smart. Like he knows what he's talking about when it comes to like ancient stuff and just the world around him. Like he's quite a clever guy. Whereas when you go to Final Horizon, every bit of flavor text he has is, "I'm just going to use my fists. I'm very
I'm gonna
competitive."
smash everything. Wait, what?
Amy, why you want to look for those ancient elders to find those emeralds? I'm gonna dig for them. Like,
And then punch him underground.
although I do love like how Robotnik talks to Knuckles. Like, oh, it's Knuckles. What are you doing? Make yourself useful. And Knuckles like, stop ordering me around, or I'll punch you.
With my
They're
fist.
two soy jacks just going back and
It's
forth
so-
to each other. Just two soy jacks just screaming in each other's faces.
You see, in the main game itself, Knuckles comes off as a little bit more intelligent, and in the Final Horizon, it's like, wow, Knuckles is all about fisting.
I'd like to visit this cool island of
look.
Doritos.
Look, if he's all about fisting, that's his
Jesus.
prerogative. All right, I don't want to hear about any of that. Personally, I don't want to hear about anyone
Why
fisting.
you gotta make it
okay?
weird?
No,
Why
I'm
you
not
gotta make
making
it weird, Trey?
You said fisting.
Why are you making it weird, Trey?
I'm
Hey,
not making it
look,
weird.
Why are you making it weird,
said that
Trey?
first.
No,
I'm
no,
just saying
no,
where I
you're-
stand on this. No, I'm just
Look,
saying where
look.
I stand on this. You know.
Trey, you are
I'll,
making this a dishonorable experience, and I will not give you a Cool Ranch Dorito.
Oh,
You know what? I
Jesus
had Cool Ranch
Christ.
Doritos earlier, so there you go. I already
However,
had 'em anyways. However, no, and like the thing is, like I know I've had my, I guess, like distaste in the past about Ian Flynn's kind of like more on the nose writing, before, but like I know that he is trying and doing the best with like what he has and everything, because like half the time I don't know if even Sonic Team knows what they want out of this thing, you know.
I mean,
So-
like,
I think it's
yeah,
I
like
think it's unfortunate that. Oh, I'm sorry, Pup. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, it's kind of been revealed now that Pontac and Graf were just doing as they were told.
Well, I was gonna say, I
Yeah.
think it's one of those. I think
That's
it's one of those
unfortunate.
things where it's unfortunate that it's great that we now know a lot of the creators who make these things. They have Twitters. They do a lot more interviews. They're more open. So we're not in like the kind of the older YouTube days of just like mocking these people relentlessly and being like, well, they're never gonna see it. But I do think it has another negative side effect of like we never have these discussions, and I do this too, obviously. We never have these discussions based around like, oh, the writing in Sonic Frontiers is really annoying for this or that reason. I hope they fix it going forward. It's always like
Right.
Ian Flynn made this mistake, or Ian Flynn did this really amazing thing, and this is perfect and amazing. Oh, you think Ian Flynn's perfect and amazing, and then that creates a backlash, for people who think maybe he's mid, but because they hear everyone thinks he's the greatest, gift to Sonic, they then double down on like, actually, he's really bad. And it just kind of sucks that,
And then they
I don't know, like
they cherry pick moments that they dislike about it, and it's like, oh, this is why, and then this is why.
Yeah, or there's
Also,
literally like the amount of. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just
Peak
gonna say, I
and
just
mid
think it's getting
need to
lost
vanish.
in the forest and the trees and stuff, where it's just like, we can just talk about the writing of the thing. It doesn't always have to be like, well, you know what, maybe if
Yeah.
Ian Flynn just got his shit together.
Well, something that makes me think I'm losing my fucking mind is when people are like, oh, there's this bit from Sonic Frontiers that proves that Ian Flynn's a fucking bumbling hack. And I was just like, have you read read late preboot Archie at all? And they're like, no. And it's like, well, check that out, because that will completely dismantle your entire point. And it's like, no, I'm not interested in that preboot Archie's. Well, there you go. You're just willfully
My
ignorant
favorite-
at this point. Like,
My favorite one is when they go into the "Am I the only one?" And it's like, yes, you are. Shut the hell up. Move
Yes.
on.
Am I the only one that likes Sonic Unleashed?
I mean,
Yes.
I am the
Yes.
only one that likes Sonic Unleashed.
Yes, move on.
I like the thing is that like
I thought
feel
IGN
like
liked it.
I feel like a lot of people. There's two sides of this coin. A lot of people think that any kind of criticism is a personal jab at someone, and it's
Right.
not. Criticisms are not supposed to be personal, and I know this. Like being a musician, people have like had their criticisms towards my work in the past, but I never take it as like ooh, like you insulted me. It's like no, this is just a body of work that I can improve on later. It's fine. Who cares? But
The-
like, and then you have the
Oh,
other
go
side
for
of
it.
the coin where it's like people like do insult Ian Flynn personally, and then everything that is a negative connotation towards his writing is like clumped in with that.
All I'm
you know,
saying is,
uh,
I hope Ian Flynn dies. Okay, I would be happy if I heard
no,
that.
I
He...
don't want him.
Clip it.
No.
That was
And
someone
unfortunately,
unironically said. Like,
Really?
Yeah,
They-
I know.
they need-
Wow.
They need
Yeah,
therapy.
I know who exactly you're referring to. So, but yeah,
the
need to go
thing
to
is, they still
therapy
post on
stat.
Twitter, and it's like, there's nothing you can post without someone bringing this up now, dude. Just let it go. Delete your account.
The other thing I was going to mention about like somebody's writing, or like whenever somebody's writing is criticized, is that people probably also assume like, oh, hey, that person probably put a lot of themselves into it, or it's like a big investment for them to do that. So they would probably say like,
But
oh,
then
so
even
you're
then-
personally offending them.
side, right?
But even then, like as a creative, you can't allow yourself to get so like super attached to your work to where you can't receive criticism at all. And I'm not saying that's what Ian Flynn's doing. I'm not saying that's what anyone else is doing.
Oh,
But
I doubt.
I know
doubt that's what he
personally,
does.
it's like I like. I guess for me, and like again, I'm not saying that Ian or anyone else does this, but like you gotta have confidence in your own work to where it's like, no, I did the best that I could, and I like what I did. Like I'm good with receiving criticism for sure, but I like this. I did well on this, and I'm not gonna let
Well,
anyone like deter me from
you gotta,
that.
you gotta be
especially if
able.
they're-
You gotta be able to sort out the constructive stuff versus the noise.
And like sometimes, like Ian doesn't have to listen to anybody because like the people that are
Well,
giving
I mean,
him
except for
the
Sega.
criticism, yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. The people who are giving them the like criticism that does matter, at least to his paycheck, is gonna be Sega. He doesn't have to listen to like the white noise of like the Sonic fan base and all that stuff either. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying this as like an excuse to like keep jabbing at the guy, but like if someone is
Well-
just like criticizing their work or whatever and just has an opinion about it, that's fine.
So I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So I should clarify. Anyone who knows me and is watching this is probably like, Ian, what the fuck are you talking about? You have a whole podcast where you just bitch about his writing. This is true. So to clarify, it is perfectly fine to talk about like the negative of someone's writing. I know this isn't to any of you guys, but I want to clarify more so. What I'm saying is that I think the unfortunate side of this is you have those two sides of like people who obviously are like crappy towards Ian Flynn, and then people who really love his work and want to praise it and give him due credit. And I think what's unfortunate is that then because like for him that doesn't really matter. He has been doing Sonic for years and years. I think he has thick enough skin. He can take any criticism he gets. He's fine. But I think the annoying side is more so in the discourse, where you have to come into every conversation about Sonic storytelling going forward with the lens of, okay, what does this person think about Ian Flynn? And it's like, well, can I just talk about like the game and its writing, please? So that's kind of more where I'm coming from. Yeah. But I totally agree. It's perfectly fine to criticize his work. I literally do it all the time. So
I didn't like the Knuckles series. Ian Flynn, you did this.
Absolutely.
We do have a bit more news to go over if everyone's kind of satisfied with where we're at on that. How was that?
No.
How was that the discussion of the legacy classic Sonic skin?
I don't know.
At least
Actually,
We
I'll
kept
have
it
to
at
re-listen
Sonic.
to
You
this.
know what? I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So next up, this is just a little one, a little tiny one, is additional playable character in Shadow Gens. Japanese Sonic Generations website seems to imply that could be the case. But then someone else said it isn't. Excellent journalism, I know. But
I think it's
Slow news
Maria.
day.
I think it's Maria.
well,
First-person shooter.
someone working on
That's
Shadow
a 2-minute
Generations.
thriller.
I can't remember his name, but I think it's like the writer of the plot in Japanese was asked about it, and he said there is no other person, which goes tremendously hard. Like, just that wording, there is no other person. But, like,
Just him.
there is only
There-
Shadow.
eventually because-
There
I
is
was
no
gonna-
Sonic.
I mean, eventually,
We
because
will
Maria
send
just
unto
turns into
them.
a corpse.
But
Well,
this
it's,
is
like,
the thing
some
people are
people-
excited
Sorry.
about, is that, like, on the Sonic Generation side of things, you got Modern Sonic and Classic Sonic, and then you flip over the website, and it's got Shadow and a question mark in the other one. So it's like, ooh. So I know that Game Apologist was saying, oh, I hope it's like a Classic Shadow. Sega are too pussy for that. They are way too pussy for that.
Well, and
But,
also,
like,
I don't feel like that would make much sense.
it
I
doesn't
guess that-
need to! It's a game!
I know it doesn't need to make sense, but like, I guess my question is like, why?
Fun.
Like, why?
We just went over like the whole thing of people bitching about writing, and like if you say like, oh, it doesn't make sense, it's a game, you will get people bitching
Right.
about how this doesn't make sense.
Well, okay,
It's
so,
like,
like, in terms of the classics, like a
It's the
Classic Shadow thing.
Bio-Lizard. It's the Bio-Lizard. That's what it is.
Oh,
the
okay.
Bio-Lizard's
I
Oh, yeah.
playable.
I would.
I mean,
play
I
as
suppose-
Bio-Lizard.
I suppose this is kind of different to, like, the whole Classic Shadow skin in Sonic Superstars thing, because I think there's genuinely no reason not to do that. Like, because that's just a skin, whereas a second playable character, I suppose.
Yeah.
I will yield and say, yeah, it does probably have to make some sense for a second playable character, but I know that Sega are far too pussy to ever do a Classic Shadow skin. I'm hoping they'll prove me wrong, but I would love that.
You see,
Well,
it's
I
going to
guess-
be
I
cream.
guess
It's going to be
more so
cream.
what you could, if you wanted to justify it, you could literally just say, I mean, this is what, before there was a classic and modern Sonic, this is just what it was, is that the Sonic with the green eyes and the classic looking Sonic, they're just both Sonic, it's just a different art style. So if they wanted to, they could say, hey, we wanted to make some classic style levels with the Shadow levels, but obviously we didn't want classic Sonic running through these, and we still wanted to be a part of Shadow's campaign. So hey, we made a stylized Shadow who looks like he would fit in the classic aesthetic, and there you go. Now you can play these
Okay.
stages.
So that would
The-
work if they didn't already establish that Classic Sonic and Modern Sonic were two separate entities.
Well, there's a very easy way of fixing this. If they had, like, just a line of dialogue or something in a game where they said, like, rather than being from another timeline, like, Classic Sonic's from another dimension, that would fix everything. Like, if they did
Well,
that
this
would be
is
great.
The last time they did that, I
No
knew-
one would have any problems with that. I'd have no issue. Like,
So the thing is that this is being bundled with a game that implies
it would go
that-
against the logic of the
Classic
game
Sonic-
that it's with.
Right. Yeah.
Oh no, I was
Yeah.
gonna say like that. It implied that this classic Sonic was from the past. That's what I was getting at. But
I mean, is also
You know,
the
like,
implication
same
that when
Sonic
Shadow was in his pod, was he just formed as an adult Shadow? Like, did he not have to grow in that pod? Maybe it could be that he was a classic Shadow inside the pod for a bit, but he never did shit. And modern Shadow's just like, I need a little help with this. So he goes back in time to his pod, opens it up, like, I need your help, classic Shadow. And then the two Shadows are like we're really cool.
Well, just like
Classic
Ian
bio
said.
lizard.
Well, just like Ian Waffle said, like, but like before there was a direct line in the sand of like classic and modern. It was just different art styles. So
Yeah,
like,
I missed that.
so Shadow and SA2 was was still the same. Like I guess it would still be considered the same type of like franchise or era as like the classic era, quote unquote. Like that distinction wasn't really made. It kind of was because they did have to change stuff for the Dreamcast for some some reasons and whatnot. But like there was no like line in the sand of like classic and modern. At least not.
It still felt like
at least not officially.
continuation.
So do you
Not
think
officially,
do you think there is another playable character?
It's weird
Gun agent.
that it's weird that they have it as like a blurred out coming soon type deal because people were saying like, oh, it's going to be like Terrios or a different skin. It's like that makes no sense because they already announced it.
It's
And-
literally
and, like-
Jim Gun Agent from the Knuckle series.
It's
It's-
Jim Gun Agent, and it
Oh,
is
it's
it
Gun
is a
Agent.
third-person shooter.
Yeah, you gotta shoot children.
Oh wait, no,
It's
They-
a Maria Robotnik shooting game.
Hang on.
it's a first-person shooter based on the game Hyenas, which was a canceled Sega shooter game.
Oh
There you
god,
go.
I remember playing that. Oh,
Oh,
god,
no,
I played a
it's,
little bit of that.
It's a first-person shooter, but it's like in the style of like the Alien games, and Shadow is the alien trying to hunt you, the gun shoulder down, as you try to get to Maria.
Oh, that's amazing.
It would be another a game with guns and space in it as well. So Jeff Keighley would love it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm
Keep
just
it all-
like very curious as to what it would be.
Or
'cause,
he would
like,
just be really bored.
because just like Pup said, like there is no one else. I guess like.
Anyway, here's Sonic.
I mean, knowing Sega, I would not be surprised if like it's just like, here you go, here's like this cool little extra spot on the screen, and people are like, whoa, that's kind of like the other part on the screen where classic Sonic would be, and then they looked at their editors, are like, shit.
Yeah, or it's like it's
where you get your skins or something.
yeah, it's the Terrios skin, or they'd be like, oh, it's the one with the wings. It's a different one.
Oh, here's the thing, that could be true, where it's like an idea of like you have two Shadows with different movesets. That could be possible.
The fact is, I've lived through
Possibly.
Sonic Origins Digital Deluxe has new playable characters. I've lived through Sonic Frontiers has 5 unique islands. Like we've all been there. We know what Sega's like recently. And I really want to discourage the fuck out of that, by the way. But yeah, I don't think there will be another
yeah.
playable character. If there is, it'd be cool if you could get like Omega maybe, or Rouge or something like.
I don't like. I guess it just doesn't mean that much, but like it's just weird that they even did that in the first place. Like the blurred out and coming soon thing on the Japanese website. It's like why
Yeah,
even do
it's-
that if there
it
is
is
no one else?
Yeah,
A little
I agree.
I feel like
funky.
there's got to be someone. Like, I hope there's someone, but whether or not it'll actually
Maybe-
live up to anyone's expectations is another thing entirely.
It's Sonic.
Honestly, a Rouge kind of like treasure hunting thing could be kind
That
of
would be
fun.
neat. Like that's the way they
it'll be just
pay homage
it'll
to
be
that.
just like the missions from Sonic Generations.
It's
Like, yeah, Rouge is on there, but you're not playing as her. You're playing as Shadow, and you have to go to specific areas and have her dig underground.
the second playable
So-
character is the Supreme Titan as you shoot at the end.
I don't know. Maybe it's Black Doom.
He took your lives. He took your jobs, as JebTube would say.
You took her herbs.
He poisoned our water supply. I love Jeb.
I love
Jeb's
him.
great. He's a
Yeah,
sweetheart.
Jeb, he really is. He really is a sweetheart. He gets way too much hate.
Oh, he
Um,
does. People really misinterpret him. Like, that's the thing is, people are like, oh, he was so negative on the Sonic Frontiers. It's like, so what? So he feels negatively about it. Who fucking cares, dude? Like, I love Sonic Frontiers. I play Sonic Frontiers every day. And, like, I sat down and chatted with him, and it was nothing but fun, you know? Like, it's okay to
Yeah,
disagree
it's-
with things.
It's Sonic Twitter being Sonic Twitter, just completely unhinged at times.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah, the way one of my friends put it is that you have to remember Sonic is their mother, and you said you talk shit about their mother, and they're mad. So
Yeah,
like,
well,
that's the
Sonic's
way.
so fat that she jumped in the air and got stuck.
Yeah.
How the fuck did I
Yep.
say that?
To actually, not to get too much on this topic, but to have a more sympathetic angle, I do think that for a lot of people, especially like in the Twitter space, I do think for a lot of people, Sonic characters are like comfort characters. And so I do think that, and I have characters like this where it's just like you just like that they exist. And so I think there can be a lot of these disconnects of like people who like they see their character and what they get out of them is so like such an essence to them that they understand that like they're just enjoying these games, they're enjoying these products, and they're like, why are people being so negative? Like when the obvious good thing about this is right here. And so those kind of two aisles kind of have a hard time talking. And obviously if something's really special to you and important to you, it feels like it's a part of you. And so I think that's where a lot of these like more angry discussions come from. Because at the end of the day, a tweet is very easy to think, and a tweet could just be someone's just little thought they had, but if they were right in front of you talking to you, they would never say it and they would have a reasonable conversation. So that's what I always try to assume. Either the people on the other end are dumb kids, in which case, you know, give them grace, and or you know, they just don't know how to express something on Twitter, which do any of us. So
Which I was actually gonna say, like, most of the time it is people who are like kids on Twitter, like kids or like teenagers.
This is why I
you
always
know.
say minors should not be allowed to go on social media because they just fucking ruin everything.
No mercy.
Don't laugh at that. I mean it. I'm not even joking about that. If we could all just be adults in peace without some little shit fucking quote tweeting my shit and misinterpreting it to his little snot-nosed friends, yeah, I'd be a very happy guy. I personally think, no, minors should not be on social media. They're also not ready for the blowback when they put their own shit takes out there.
It's interesting how many ways that they can misinterpret something that you say. There was around the time that Sonic Origins was releasing, I was talking about like, oh, it'd be really cool if they had an extra where you'd have Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles as separate games because that's how they released. And I understand that it is a full complete game. The amount of people tweeting at me saying how stupid I was or how I was like, oh, it's better this way, or
minor
like,
opinion discarded.
Way fucking before they knew anything about Sonic Origins, like the details for that version of Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I'm just like, God, some of you people just shut the fuck up.
What do you mean, you people?
You people.
You
Sonic Twitter. Sonic Twitter. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Yeah,
I'll double down on that shit. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Tom, dude, shut up. Come on.
I think,
Jesus Christ, Tom, you don't let anyone get a word in.
I'm sorry. I need to go for like 20 minutes actually.
Why?
Oh, okay.
Other real life reasons.
I really wish you were a good friend, but okay, fine. You must be
replied to
done.
my Sonic Origins post, and now he realized I'm calling him out.
Piece of shit.
Listen,
Well,
listen,
we don't
I
need
to
you
have my facts.
2D exclusive Sonic fans anyway. So just get out of here.
You're
Just
never
go.
going to do any other bit than that, are you?
What about
That's just-
Dylan's Subway sandwich?
Oh yeah, that one should overtake. Let that one be the one.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
that's bad? Remember the time Dylan ordered at Subway?
You are right. It literally, whenever you bring that up, everyone just unanimously agrees. It takes off all the heat.
You could unite Sonic Twitter with that. Like, you could put, the Knuckles TV show's a piece of shit, and if you like it, you're an idiot. Get the quote tweets, and then be like, you think that's bad? Have you heard what Dylan ate at Subway in 2009?
Legitimately try it. I guarantee it would work.
did in 2012.
Yeah.
Marriage.
I agree.
The boy. Oh, Ian, you should have been there for Jackbox last night, dude. Like,
Oh god.
we drew a picture of Bart Simpson in the summertime.
In his natural
The boy, wet edition.
Oh boy.
I'll put it
Anyway,
in Backrooms. It's so fucking funny. It's on Sunset Twitter. Okay, are we all kind of happy with that last sub? Tom, do you need to go for a bit and come back?
Yes, I'm coming back in like 20-30 minutes.
Yeah, just let me know when you're back, okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'll probably just undeafen.
Ian, Trey, I'm putting the picture of the boy in the back rooms.
So yeah, in a bit.
Oh,
Incredible. Oh man.
Good time.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
good
we.
time. Anything else on the PS?
Oh, there's a lot on the piss today. We got a packed day today. More Shadow Gens. We're getting through all this Shadow Gen stuff, and then we got some fun comic-related Sonic news, which is great because we've got Ian here with us, and he knows everything. But okay.
Oh boy.
Iizuka has said that Shadow Generations is going to have much more of a story focus to it, which obviously keeps in line with kind of the Frontiers thing.
Okay.
But this kind of got me thinking quite a bit about actually kind of how genius this release is. But before I get into that, how do you guys feel about Shadow Generations having a lot more of a story. Like, one of the things Azuka said was, it all runs parallel to Sonic Generations. You're seeing the events of Sonic Generations play out from Shadow's perspective. So, while Sonic Generations began with the Time Eater coming in and ripping time open, Shadow Generations will also begin in the same way. Time Eater comes out, rips everything out of its own time and stuff. So that means Time Eater is, one of the few Sonic baddies to get a comeback, which is kind of cool. But,
Hey, wait a minute.
So, real quick,
Are we-
Shadow wasn't at the party, right? That's why this can happen.
yeah, he wasn't at the birthday.
It would be
So we're
so
get-
funny if the joke is that, like, it's like, oh, where was Shadow? Did the Time Eater, like, single him out? But no, he was at the party. He was just brooding behind a tree. So when
He
the
was
Time
just
Eater
off.
sucked everybody away.
Well,
Wait,
this
hold on.
also
So
brings a
are
couple
we get-
things.
Are we getting a
Uh,
Shadow versus Sonic fight?
I was gonna say that. What would be the reason for Shadow wanting to fight Sonic again?
Maybe it's
I mean,
a
I just
different
always
time.
assumed those fights were alternate reality versions of them. Like, I didn't assume
and then
that,
at
like,
the
when you're in
very
the
end, you
overworld, it's like, whoa, it's me, Shadow, let's fight. I just thought it was like a
I
clone
mean,
or
this
something.
is the thing, is a lot of Sonic Generations story did amount to just kind of flavor text to kind of just support things that were going on, but things really kind of just happened without rhyme and reason. It was like the most gamey game Sonic Generations. Like,
very, very
everything exists here because it's a video game and it's entertaining. Where Shadow Generations is going to be a bit more plot focused. I don't think we're going to necessarily see... I mean, I don't know. Like, Izuka has teased that there's quite a bit of surprising crossover between the two stories, but I don't know if we're going to see why Sonic and Shadow have a little fight there. I always just assumed it's like Sonic is back in the time of Sonic Adventure 2, so Shadow
Yeah,
naturally
me too.
wants to get into a bit of a slanging match with him. But, yeah, like, any further thoughts on that?
And then what about
I mean, I think it's cool.
What about the cutscene near the end where like everyone's cheering on Sonic and then you just see Shadow there? So
Maybe
He
he's
just
just
got back from
tired.
his adventure.
Yeah,
He
he's
just got back from his
he's
adventure.
just had the fight of his life, so he's gonna sit this one out.
Yeah, it's just like, you got this, Sonic. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm just.
He says
gonna-
you-
You think
he
they're
says you
gonna
got
write in that there's
Sonic,
some kind
Sonic
of
flies
like
away, just falls to his knees.
you think they're just gonna write in that like something else was gonna try and like attack Sonic from behind or something, and then Shadow stops that?
That could be cool.
I mean, that's another
Or-
thing worth noting, though, is that there are two different Time Eaters in Sonic Generations, aren't there? There's the real one, and there's Robotnik's contraption. And
True.
isn't it kind of understood that the one that you see throughout the game is the real Time Eater, where the Robotnik one is just the one you fight at the end? Like, so if that's the case, what happened to that original Time Eater? Maybe they could include, like, Shadow beat
Wait.
the fuck out of that thing.
I thought, like, the two Robotniks harnessed the power of the Time Eater and took control of it. I thought that's what happened.
But I mean, it's a different design, though. Like, at the end of the game, he's got loads of
Well, yeah,
cogs
they
and, like,
put-
orbs and stuff. Whereas,
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, because they took over him. They're controlling him. That's what I thought was
Yeah,
happening.
Oh, so,
Yeah,
so it's like an
they control
enhanced
him.
design, basically.
Yeah,
from...
like an enhanced design. Yeah, I don't think that was meant to be a different entity altogether. I think that was just like them taking control of him.
I mean, when I
Yeah,
played it,
but
I thought that Robotnik created the Time Eater based on the little thing that he saw in space, and that this thing we're seeing is just Robotnik in disguise, effectively. But I think it's odd how kind of unclear that is. Like,
I don't know, because like, why would we be fighting that and not the Time Eater that took us in that whole like void in the first place?
because they don't
Yeah,
realize. They don't realize it's a
think
different
that's the
Time
same
Eater.
Time Eater. I think it's the same one.
I think it's the
Okay.
same one.
All right.
Okay.
I think you're the only one left out of this, pup. I'm sorry.
Am I the only one who thinks Time Eater is two
Am I
different
the
things?
only one who likes Sonic Unleashed?
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone
Yes,
goes,
yes, you
actually,
are.
yes, I didn't. I never thought of that.
Just a hungry
Yeah.
fella. I don't know. Like, when you see two very different looking versions of the same thing, you're kind of inclined to question it a
I'm
little.
gonna look at this. I'm gonna look at this and see how different they actually are.
All right, look, I'm gonna
I mean,
put it in the back rooms. Here's Time Eater as he appears
is
in
Sonic-
the first half of the game.
That's
Sonic
just
Forces has
classic
done
Time Eater.
irreparable damage to the franchise
Oh,
because now
actually,
people
it's
see
classic-
two different
yeah.
Sonics as different things.
It's classic Time Eater in modern Time Eater. I think
Yeah,
that's
he-
I think that's
Motherfucker.
yeah. I think that's what we're getting at.
Right, look, in the back
hate it.
rooms, you can see how I came
I
to
hate
this
it so
conclusion.
goddamn much.
Because there he's a foggy boy, whereas here he's a robot with a mask on. Like,
Well,
It
you're
was-
taking
it was like
you're,
a yeah.
you're taking official art and then the 3DS version.
okay, suck a dick.
Yes,
Let me find. Okay, fine. It looks the exact
later.
same, on the console one. It's the same design. Look, okay, here we
Well, I
go.
mean,
Yeah, but
the
this-
Time Eater was pretty much just like a glorified dark cloud.
Again, okay,
He didn't
fine,
really
fine.
have
Here
mass
it.
to him.
He's not cloudy or anything here. He's just a fucking
he's more
robot with a
cloudy.
jack-o'-lantern mask on him.
They took control of him, and he has cogs in the original one.
Where
too,
is
behind
yeah,
him.
he does, but like they're different
Yeah.
cogs.
No,
These ones are Swiss cogs. The other ones are American made.
American-made cogs. I don't know if we're talking about the ethnicity of the Time Eater or what he grew up at.
All
Time
right.
Eater's
We
ethnicity.
just need to ask Ian Flynn. Obviously,
Yeah,
Damn
Ian
it,
Flynn.
he'll know.
Ian, what is this? Ian, explain this shit. No, but okay, in the opening cutscene as well, the Time Eater's black, like, whereas there he's
Yeah.
purple. Like,
No, that's because the level
look,
around
he's-
him.
I don't know, man. I'm not convinced. Like, I don't think this is the same thing.
That it is the same thing. Why?
I don't know if you can.
It's the same
I don't know if you could
character.
claim that definitively, man. I think
Yes,
they could.
yes, you
Absolutely
can.
claim that.
It is
Yeah,
I-
you
not
can.
that difficult.
You know what it could be is that like the one the Swiss made one is the one Sonic fights, and the American made one is the one Shadow
Oh
fights.
my god.
It
They
would
both
be
have different
cool.
Sonic
It
soundtracks.
would be it would be cool if Shadow
Oh,
fought the
fuck.
Time Eater before he got controlled by the Eggmans.
Yeah, that could be cool.
And
That
that's
would
why
be
he's
cool.
too. I mean, ultimately, all I'm trying to do here is give Shadow a reason to be too tuckered out for the final battle of Sonic Generations.
Bring back Mephiles.
Or maybe he's doing something else. Maybe he's like, "You've got this, Sonic." Walks
Fight
away and
Black
fights an
Doom.
even bigger, even scarier thing at the
Actually, I
same
was gonna
time.
say, he might just like look to the side and like he fights Black Doom and like Black Doom's there or something. That
It'd
could
be so
happen.
funny if like the two classic the two Supersonics just look to the side and see Shadow doing something. It's like, what's going on over there? That looks way worse. We'll just
That's
stick
also
with
looks
this.
Way more fun. And is that
Glad
and is
I'm
that Kellen
glad
Quinn?
I'm not in that fight.
Oh my god, he's got a combat engine, and that's where Sonic learned this. Like
Time Eater and Time Eater Mark II.
Time Eater and bigger Time Eater.
Big time eater.
You just fight it like the fight against Beta in Sonic Adventure. Where you're
Well,
on
like,
the egg
think
carrier.
about Iron Man. You look at Iron Man
Oh,
Mark
you get some
1.
dope-ass music with it, though.
Looks super different than Iron
Are
Man.
we
Mark-
still on
Mark
this? You're the one that brought this up because you thought the two Time Eaters looked different.
No, don't try to gaslight me. You
Oh,
said this.
oh god.
Trey, you were all like, "Oh, do you think there's two Time Eaters?" And now we're back on this again. Like, let it go, dude. Like,
Chat rewind about 10 minutes ago.
I think every
Listen, Tom.
conversation on this podcast has started with like recap, and then we get hung up on one thing in the recap before the news.
I no, I will not. No, you're not doing this to me.
So yeah, Shadow will be fighting classic Time Eater.
What if the Time Eater's just Mephiles, you know? What the fuck?
right,
Fuck
that's it. Run
That would be
a
way
poll.
cooler.
Fuck it.
Run
Yeah.
a poll.
Run a poll?
Yeah, it's definitely
Run a
Trey.
poll?
Cool
No.
people will vote for Trey.
No. So far, 100% of the people have voted for Bob.
Right, I'm deleting this poll.
I
Coward.
think the only one that voted for me was you.
Hey, don't look at me. I voted for Kodos.
Right, we're deleting this. I'm just gonna get rid of all the evidence. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So if
No,
you
you-
notice that a chunk of the episode is missing, now you know why.
Trey, it
I
was
love
your
that.
Or
idea.
the audio
Trey,
version.
it was your idea to run a poll in the first place. Why are you so insecure?
I love how on the YouTube comments you close the poll and then it shows the results.
I know I
So
can't.
it's like-
There's nothing that can be done. Nothing that can be done.
But anyways, I think it like let's just I guess put a bow on this. I think it being more story focused will be cool. The only thing I'm worried about is like how it really is gonna fit with the Gen story, unless they are gonna retcon some stuff. And two, like, is this gonna be another story where yet again Shadow has lost his memories and we're reclaiming his memories and stuff like that? Because we've already done that at least
yeah.
2 other times.
You know it is because this is a game for the people. When was the last time Shadow was like as a character, like his kind of narrative was like relevant to the populace?
Ah,
Oh,
my
shit.
Fourth
memories.
Yeah, so maybe they
Probably
really are
06.
just trying to reintroduce it for people. So it's like, oh, why does Shadow need to relive this? Well, he forgot.
I mean, I
It's
think
like,
it
oh,
services the
It is
whole
amnesia again.
it services the whole like they're releasing that third movie and like they want to show like Shadow's history. I mean, the thing is though, that recent Tales tube did imply that Shadow does remember all that shit. Maybe he just remembers it anyway and he's reliving the past like, oh, this is nothing new. I'm pretty chill with all this now.
Well,
I remember when Maria got shot. Oh, memories. Oh, funny.
good times, bad times. But like, I think another interesting thing is like Black Doom's involvement, like, and what he wants out of Shadow. I think that's interesting because like they could have just done like a whole like, oh, Shadow just lost his memories again and he has to reclaim them. But Black Doom has like he has an incentive to go after Shadow this
I
time
need to
around.
run tests on Shadow. He's just forgetting way too much.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Why are you so forgetful?
I think Black Doom's role in this is going to be a lot more impactful than what I originally thought.
I want to give the
yeah, no,
I want
for him.
to give the shippers a little bit of ammunition. Shadow still remembered Amy's birthday. Doesn't remember his own history, but he remembered her birthday. And
Yeah,
that
I
she
mean,
likes
he
hot
has
honey.
Facebook
What?
like all of us. He gets
Amnesia
noticed.
can be
nice.
selective. Amnesia can be selective.
I mean,
That's
it could
really nice of
also. To be fair, he forgot to get her anything until the last minute. So
You know what? Hey,
Yeah.
sometimes people are busy. Sometimes you're in a bit of a jam.
I was
you're
about to
talking
say
about
he's
that,
a
yeah.
man. I was about to say it's just because he's a dude. But to be honest, like most dudes forget birthdays, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But what is a man?
That's one of our.
Happy
That's one of our.
birthday,
These
Trey.
are pile of secrets.
I was actually trying to think of the Frank Sinatra song, like "For what is a man? What has he got?"
I went straight
Anyways.
to Castlevania on that one.
What is a
Um,
man if not a woman?
But it
Ah.
doesn't the what is it? What is it? Like, I'm assuming you're referring to like the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, like the April Fool's game.
Yeah.
Where he
Yeah, of course.
remembers Amy's birth. Well, like with Shadow Generations, like I'm pretty sure that takes place before all that even happened.
I mean,
anyways.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
So something that I have to point out though is like a remaster, like make the old game better and stuff, right? But like graphics were never really an issue with Sonic Generations. I mean, they can be
Right.
better, sure, but ultimately it looks the
It was
exact
fine.
fucking same. But
Oh, right.
something I was gonna kind of say is the more I hear about Shadow Generations and kind of it overlapping with Sonic Generations, the more impressed I am. Because I've always kind of thought, like, the weaker aspects of Sonic Generations were things like the story. You know, I've always thought it's a game that could use a sincere expansion in terms of the story, and I would also appreciate it being a little longer too. And what we've got here is, while the Sonic Generations as we know it and love it will remain as we know it and love it, we are still capitalizing on the opportunity to kind of retell that story just from another perspective now. So it's like if you did kind of resent Sonic Generations, not actually tap into the history from like a narrative perspective, you're getting that now with Shadow Generations. They've re-released this game with a story where you can have that, but the general base Sonic Generations remains relatively untampered. And I gotta say, that's genius. It makes this, like, an excellent release overall. Unless they fuck it up. But, like, if they don't fuck it up,
yeah,
what we've got is a Sonic Generations re-release that addresses problems like the lack of storyline or the lack of any of this mattering to the characters. And even funnier yet, like, it was never an objective criticism, but I was always like, man, I wish there was a 3D version of the White World for modern Sonic. I was like, oh, we're getting a 3D White World with Shadow. That's awesome.
yeah. I think
Yeah, no,
that's, like,
No, go ahead.
also like this re-release, it's done in-house, right? There's
Yes.
no other
Yeah, it's
developers.
Sonic Team.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that like, you know, as well as like a different writing team as well, like and everything. I just hope that they focus on the right things to make it, you know, make it a complete experience. I honestly think it would be cool if they could, I don't know if it's possible, but if they could like add a little bit more to the base game story, because I feel like like honestly the story itself wasn't bad, like, but it was just kind of lacking. I
It
just
was
wish they did more
empty.
with it.
It was purely just context for what was happening. and that was it.
Like, and I get that, like, everything was just kind of like a vehicle to push like the concept of it forward, which was just like revisiting older levels. Like, so I know that the story isn't supposed to be complex, but I think it would be cool to like, like at the beginning of the game, they were doing like a little bit of cool callbacks and references. And I thought that was very cute and very fun, but then they just
Magic
like
books.
stopped. They just stopped doing that after like,
It's
the fourth level.
I think generally what they want to do is kind of put out Sonic Generations for the great game that it was to begin with just basic little tweaks, like, additional skins and stuff. But what I will say is, if they want to change the time meter fight, they can. If they want to fix that, they're more than welcome to. Because, my god, going from, like, Frontiers with its supersonic fights to going over to time meter again is just going to be so sourceless,
It is. I agree. Look at that. That's what is it? That's Pup's second good idea, everyone.
Shut the
That's
fuck
all-
up. I have
that's all
so
I-
many good ideas. Alright, fine, Trey. You don't want a Sega Saturn style 3D classic Sonic game by Evening Star.
I do.
You just want more R-Zest bullshit. That's fine.
No, he just wants his two time meter theory to be real.
Yeah, you stupid idiot.
My 2 time meter theory? No, Frank, you got no. We're not doing this. That was not me. It was never me.
Trey, if you don't stop lying, I'm not going to braid your hair.
Okay.
All right, well, no cornrows for you then.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us to the next topic. Speaking of
Not Tom
topics,
topics.
where the fuck? I
He said
hate him.
20 minutes.
I know,
And we were
it's-
just
It's been
we were talking about
60.
it's I'd say 40. Not to be
Yeah.
argumentative, but
You always argue with me, Trey.
it's
That
fun.
is kind of the thing you've done today.
Yeah, you want me to go
Me?
upside your head, boy?
Next thing you know, next thing you know, he's gonna come up with this lie that I came up with, the 2 time meter theory.
Yeah, or he'll be like, it's pronounced hydrosity.
Okay, you're going too far.
but-
it has
but
never
I-
been pronounced hydrosity. It's always
I say
hydrocity.
hydrosity. I say hydrosity.
It's hydrocity.
I do not
Put
care.
Put that in the poll. Put that in a poll. Hydrocity
No.
versus hydrocity.
No.
I
Don't
mean,
put that in the
so
poll.
to be honest, I can go either way. The origin of this was that I did believe it was hydrosity because it was like hydro and velocity, and velocity's a Sonic thing, and I was like, it's a fun little play on words. But it eventually
is all
got
one word.
proven. It eventually got proven that it is intended to be Hydro City. And then as soon as that kind of came out, I said, yeah, Trey, why are you saying it's Hydrocity? What's wrong with you?
It is all one word.
So is Ice Cap. Okay, Frank.
Yeah, and so is Sandpolis.
Sandpolis?
Sandopolis.
No, but actually, no,
Trey, why-
Frank, in
Trey,
the...
what's
no, in
Trey,
the initial...
what is Sandopolis?
In the
That's-
initial
that's
release...
Sandopolis.
No, in the initial release of Sonic Origins, Sandopolis was listed as Sandpolis.
Oh, that's
What
funny.
an amazing re-release.
Yeah.
Or remaster, actually.
Hey, they
Remake,
put the space
whatever.
between Hydro and City. That's all I can ask for. That's
I
They're
mean,
wrong.
yeah, but if there wasn't a space in there to begin with, then surely that does prove that it was Hydrocity.
how do you say Hydro Thunder?
Hydrothunder.
Hydro Thunder.
That's a Nick joke.
No, but
Like-
no, but Hydro Thunder is like, you know, Hydro Thunder, whereas Hydrocity's hydrated velocity, which is what Sonic is. He drinks and he goes fast.
The way I look at it is that it is Hydro City, as we've proven, but for all intents and purposes, it's Hydrocity in the same way that he says, "So long, gay Bowser." You know, that's not actually what he's saying. but that's what he's
Bowser is
saying,
gay.
so
Yeah.
there you go. It's taken on a life of its own. It's a part of the game. So
It belongs to the community now.
yeah, we've reclaimed it.
Also, Trey, I just want to point out that Hydrocity is currently winning in the poll, so...
You spelled them both.
Stop the vote. Stop the vote.
Stop the count.
I mean, Trey, how do you say velocity? Do you say Velocity? Like,
Velocity
I bet
is
he
one
does.
word. Here's the thing.
Just like-
Now we're just lying.
Hydro is a word. City is
Yeah.
a word.
all right, let me
This
Okay,
guy must
I
hate
want you
Megamind
to I want
because
you
he
to do
says
me.
Metrocity.
Let me ask you something, Trey.
It's Metro City,
Trey,
Megamind. All right,
Trey,
I don't wanna
No,
hear
it's
it.
Metrocity
Trey.
because that place
Trey.
is an atrocity.
Trey, let me ask you something. You mean an Atro
Yes.
City? Trey, where's the space? Where's the space between Hydro and City?
Okay,
Fuck you.
okay, we want to do this. We want to do this.
The
All
space
right.
is silent.
But also, Trey, where is the space between Hydro and City?
It doesn't matter. It's a compound word. Hold on.
Oh, so we're moving the goalpost now and making up a thing called a compound
not.
word.
okay.
You just
Typical
made that up.
Sonic
Idiot.
Here. Where's the space? Give me a second. Give me a second.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
Pull out his facts and logic
It's-
again.
It's been a couple seconds already. You want to like speed this up?
Where do I post this? Back rooms. All
Back
right.
rooms, yeah. I'm not saying that it is Hydrocity.
I mean,
Where's the space in Ice Cap?
There is a space there, literally. There is
No,
more
there's not.
space between the
No.
E and the C
No.
than there is between
No,
the O and the C.
No, there isn't. Because
Yes,
look at
there
the, look
is.
At the back, look at the back of it. It's one complete black line behind it. Look
No.
At any other,
No,
look
you
at,
fool.
Look at any other stage.
There
Look
is
at any other
definitely
stage.
more of a space
Look at-
there.
No,
You fool.
Because there's a black line. The black line is not being cut off.
No,
behind Ice Cap.
it's being silly. The O and the C are literally
Angel
touching.
Island has a space in it. You
The
see that?
the O and C are literally touching on the Hydro City, whereas here,
It's-
like,
it's
what
the
you're
font.
trying to
It's the
fucking
font.
oh no,
hey,
blame
don't
the
blame
font.
for you being
Blame
wrong.
blame the type space. Now he's blaming black squares. Why don't you blame the white squares, you racist? And also, that's what it would look like if there was no space between ice
Way too
and cap.
close. That's
It's not
how
way
that
too.
font
That's how
works.
that would look.
That's not how the font
No,
works.
it's
Look at-
fine.
look at
It's
Angel
fine.
Island and
Listen,
look at
it's
the black
so
line.
it's okay
Look
to
at
be a
the
look,
ice
big.
cap.
I program in Unity. I know how fonts work.
All right.
I
Okay.
program
All right.
with Godot,
All right.
so
Okay.
that's-
All right.
so you watch your
Fine.
mouth.
Fine. Right. Okay.
Sega,
Furthermore.
hire this man.
Furthermore. Right. Okay. What's this, Trey? What? A Mirage Saloon? Notice how there's a spacing between those two fucking words. Now, get ready, get ready. You see that? It's all one line there, yet it's two words apparently. Yet there's no fucking
Because-
space there, is there?
Yeah, fuck.
And that happens on two fonts now, does it? Are both of those fonts ones that don't have spaces in, or what? What is it, Trey? Tell me.
Jesus Christ.
Tell me, you big bumpkin. Tell me. You are a literal hillbilly. You are a hillbilly. You're a slack-jawed yokel is what you are, I'm telling you.
Look, considering this is topical of the Sonic Generations, let me see. Sonic Generations, look at Sonic Generations Hydro City in terms of the music. There's a space there.
What?
Yeah, the game's full of typos.
Yeah, that's the same game we have Sand Polis. That's
it's
the
not.
same game. No, it's Sand
No,
Polis.
Origins
The-
is.
Yeah,
Is that not what it is?
What? What are you fucking talking about? Wait, I'm lost. I'm
What?
a
I
little
thought You
lost.
said, okay.
We want to talk about Sonic
this-
Origins. Remember when they mixed some of the music and they have it labeled incorrectly?
So is Generations the one with typos or Origins or both?
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
yes.
considering that they're prone to typos, what makes this not a typo? What makes
All
the
right.
original
Because I
not a
like that
typo?
Listen. If it was so set in stone, why would it even be a debate? No one debates if Lagoon City is one or two words.
Lagoon City.
Man,
Lagoon
I've dropped
City?
in a
Lagoon City?
billion times, Jesus.
Lagoon City? There's
Lagoon
two O's,
City.
you idiot. Sorry, Trey.
Lagooning? All right, I'm not gooning anywhere.
You
Norm,
might
I
me.
the new Norm on X. I goon to your posts.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
Conversation does
My-
universally.
My argument for Mania though is
Your
that
argument for the new
considering
norm is that you like it.
my argument for it is that they didn't want to mess. They didn't want to mess with how the original.
Oh, they did- yeah,
titles
they
were
didn't want-
tampered with.
Oh, so you admit the original title didn't have a space?
Look up the pronunciation of Hydro City
I
in
program
Japanese.
in Godot. I
All
know
I'm
what
saying
developers
is-
think.
All I'm
Godot-
saying it.
Godot.
Yeah, it's Godot, okay?
It is Godot to be.
Whatever, same.
No, it is Godot. I'm afraid.
No, I'm going with Godot.
No, Godot is the last name of actress Gal Gadot, whereas
Yeah, but I
Godot
don't
is
acknowledge that
Godot.
person, so
I don't acknowledge
care.
her either. She's not a good Wonder Woman. But beside the point.
No, because
Onto-
I just don't know who she is. That's why.
On to the next one, because I know that Ian is going to love this, and I think he deserves to have nice
let's
things.
fucking go on this one. Let's go on this one.
I think Ian deserves to have nice things, and I know that everyone here wants to hear about it. So, Kenyul is doing interesting things. Ken Penders. For one, I believe
we're back. We're back.
the release of the Lara Sue Chronicles has begun, right? Is that correct, Ian? You're kind of my source of knowledge today.
I have it in my hands right now. I'm
Oh my God.
holding it. I'm caressing it. I'm licking
In
it.
my
It's right here.
hands, I hold the ones I love.
He's on a very specific panel of it.
Yeah, I have all the panels.
Fap, 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 fap.
No.
Well-
We're shooting. We're not
well-
shooting anywhere.
Well, Ian, could you
Not
give
yet.
us give us
Continue.
like your
Not
quick
yet?
thoughts?
on the book.
Yeah.
Yes. So the Lara Sue Chronicles is finally out. For anyone who doesn't know what this is, Ken Penders, worked on Archie Comics. He sued for his characters, and now I think it's like 13 years later, he has finally released the first part of the Lara Sue Chronicles. Lara Sue is the Knuckles of, is the daughter of Knuckles, now named Kanox in his new version. But yeah, basically, so what he had to do is he made the Lara Sue Chronicles beginning, which not only is the first of that story, but it collects all of his run in Archie during the 25 years later storyline, which introduces Lara Sue and all that stuff. So for the reprint stuff, like for all the, like, this is the first time all of the 25 years later stories have been collected. And whatever the paper is, the printer and all that stuff, this is like excellent quality as far as that's concerned. So as far as like, if you ever wanted to collect like Sonic and Knuckles have midlife crisis and talk about having kids, you have that now. It's in hardback.
I kind of want
it's all
this now,
collected.
actually.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
perfect.
lie. I kind of putting this on my
it's
Christmas
pretty-
list.
It's pretty ridiculous. But then you actually have the beginnings part, which is about Lara Sue. So for those who don't know, at the end of the 25 years later storyline in the original one, Sonic, basically from all of his time space shenanigans, has basically broken reality, and it's all his fault. So they're going to send him back in time to try to fix that. And during that story, he basically gets like blipped out of existence, and then it just cuts to Sonic and Knuckles, and they're like, "Wow, the future sure is crazy. I wonder what it'll be one day." And we never came back to it. So Ken basically takes that exact storyline. So if you read this from cover to cover, you get to that panel with Sonic as he's fading away, and then it transfers into his new storyline with hideous art. So in the Lara Sue Chronicles, we've waited all these years. So what happens in it? And let me just say, as someone who's read all of Ken Penders stuff, you can immediately tell that it is his work because nothing happens. It is just characters standing around, either giving exposition that goes in circles, or basically being like, man, next time in the next 10 years when I release the next issue, stuff's definitely gonna happen. And we get such wonderful flashbacks as 3 breastfeeding scenes between Lara Sue and her mom,
yes.
which-
Well, I wanted to
or
point.
the naked family outing.
Well, I wanted to point something out. Is that like so? Lara Sue's the daughter of Knuckles and Julie Sue, right?
Julie Sue.
And Julie Sue doesn't
Yes.
wear pants.
She definitely does not.
Awesome. Okay, great. We're off to a good start.
Wait, what do you mean great? I'm killing
But yeah, no, this is real. It's incredible. It's really bad, and I'm very glad I have it. So
I think it'll be sold out once Pub gets his hand on all the copies. He's pre-purchasing all of them right now.
I
as we
want
speak.
literally every. No, if I had the money, man, I would buy it up.
I have seen a few screenshots that people have posted on, including what Ian's posted on. What the fuck?
yeah, I was gonna say, does anyone have any questions? Because I can answer them. So,
Do you actually see like titties in it, like during the breastfeeding
Yes.
scenes?
yes, you.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, you actually
do.
see like the
nipple.
you see the nips?
You see nipple. You see
Oh, I
nips.
gotta read this.
And this is based on a story that was told about Sonic and Knuckles and all those characters.
Yes,
So-
in the Archie books.
We all
But basically, yeah. Go ahead.
we all clown on it, but I think everyone's got to kind of like it too. Like because, all right, hear me out. Okay, so
This is an actual hear me out moment. Okay, Rubus, we're
So
so
with-
back.
Oh god.
with Ken Penders, we've all got our thoughts on the guy, the man, the myth, the legend over on Twitter and stuff, how he behaves on there, and some of the
The
points
man
he
who
makes.
claims that Green Knuckles is his character.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a
And
lot of
Evil Sonic.
The thing is, if he won them fair and square down to both Sega and Archie's collective incompetence, then he did. And I can only blame them for that, not really him. But
well, also, it just should be a thing that when you work on comics that you own your characters. That's just like a thing that should be happening anyway.
Unless it is legitimately understood that it's been signed off for the company to do whatever they please with. If that's something that's agreed upon from the get-go, then fair enough. But, like, yeah, that's the thing, is at the time of the Ken Penders lawsuit, it was seen as a big W for comic book creatives everywhere. Like, there was a lot of people that were kind of championing for him to win this. It's just the tides kind of turned when people kind of saw, like, who Ken Penders kind of is, you know, like, how he acts and
how
stuff.
long it's taken, and how, like, there's nothing in this book, really.
But look, here's the thing, is I don't need Sonic to be ultimate adult fiction with, like, titties and sex and shit in it. But gotta hand it to him.
Really
He's
funny,
doing
though.
it. He is unabashedly making this like an adult fiction thing, and that's off to him. My little kid in a cowboy hat is off to him. Kind of dig it, like what he's doing there. I haven't read any of the Lara Sue Chronicles, but I have to appreciate this grown man who's making this Sonic the Hedgehog stuff and treating it like adult fantasy, fucking hard sci-fi shit. I've gotta respect it.
This is his life's work, and he's prepared. He said in like because he has like a blog where he posts updates, and he's like sincerely loves this thing, and he has said like, even if I don't live long enough to see this creation through, I hope the next generation of fans will maybe take it forward and finish this story. I'm like, Ken, I don't even know what the story's about, but he loves this thing, so
I'll do it.
It's crazy.
I'll do it,
Gosh.
Ken. If you don't sue me, I'll do it. Like,
Oh no, he'll probably sue you while he's still alive.
he'll sue me while he's dead.
Yeah, I'll see you in the afterlife.
Literally,
Oh,
Ken
that's
Penders
Coming
is
after you.
Ken Skelly. I can't think of something, but skeleton Ken Penders just sits down to the podium and is just like, he stole my thing. But
They're just marinating his
Yeah.
skeleton as if someone talked behind him.
I want to play his ribs like a xylophone in the thing as well, just like.
But yeah, no, the actual collection though, with all the stories and stuff. Again, as someone who like, because I actually like the 25 years later story, which is like, again, Sonic and Knuckles having like midlife crises, because like Ken's style of writing is often to the effect of like old man speak. Like he really has like a lot of these characters try to like have these really
He's
like
someone who
long
can
soliloquies.
nail a midlife crisis, right?
Yeah. So like when he writes these characters and like he has like Sonic and Sonic and Knuckles, I keep wanting to say Shadow. Sonic and Knuckles having these little jabs at each other and like dealing with being parents, and like Sonic's like a king and he doesn't know how to deal with that. Like there's like a funny little scene where like they're going to figure out like, why is the world, being corrupted? What's going on? And Sonic's just like, well, it's probably something that only I can handle. And then they go, actually, King Sonic, it's your fault. And then Knuckles, who's like, and again, an adult man, he just turns around and he goes, ha, yeah, I said so. So there's just funny little things, and it has actually a really good story about Knuckles dealing with the death of his parents, and Knuckles' entire character arc is about being a good dad and wanting to prop his daughter up instead of maybe holding her back from going through the trauma he did. So like there's like interesting stuff in here that I think is like really fun. The art looks really good. But when you get to the actual Lara Sue Chronicles, that's where it really does fall apart, because all those qualities that he put into the first half of this collection just really aren't there. So that is where it is, all memes aside, like it is very funny to look at the images and stuff, and that's really, I think, the best thing I could say about it. But the only reason to really buy this would be for 25 years later, just because it's a part of Archie history. It's actually pretty decent. It's got really good art, but the actual Lara Sue Chronicles is a pretty big disappointment. So it's unfortunate in that perspective, but it's been selling like gangbusters according to him. So good for him.
I mean,
That's probably
between the Lara
gotta
Sue
be a lie.
Chronicles and the Knuckles TV series, which would you say is currently the better echidna fiction?
Knuckles TV series.
What? It can't be that bad, surely. Shut the fuck. This has nipples in it.
Wait, versus the Lara Sue Chronicles, not 25 years later? Because I'll take 25 years later.
No, so Lara Sue Chronicles.
You're just being horny on Maine.
No, I'm not. I'm being red-blooded man on just me existing.
On life.
Look, if you're not horny on main, you're disingenuous. Is what you're hiding the horny.
Speaking of being horny for these characters, this is an actual thing. So, there's this famous tweet from Ken where he says, like, one story I never got to tell was Jeffrey St. John, who's the skunk man, taking Sally's virginity. Man, Jeffrey sure was quicker on the draw on that one than Sonic. That's the thing he said. So he's like, I couldn't put that in the story. So for the longest
time, is he trying to say that he pulled out, but Sonic didn't?
Well, actually, we'll get to it. So I always took that as like he's on Twitter and he's just being kind of like crass about it. But really, what he's trying to say is he wanted to tell, like Ken was always trying to tell like dark stories. He talks about life, death, religion, race. Very poorly, he does all these things, but he does try to put those into his story. And so I just thought he was saying like I was going to tackle sex, right, and put that in the comic, but they wouldn't let me. Okay, cool. But then, so I always took it as like, yeah, and he's just over exaggerating it for like for rage or whatever, because he does he does like to like enrage the fandom because he knows he gets eyes on him and then he can promote his stuff. He knows this. But then you actually read this and there are character bios for all the different characters. And for Jeffrey, he kept in the lore that Jeffrey and Sonic have this rivalry because he just changes Sonic to like some alien thing. So he says like a blue spiky and then it has like a random like alien name he gave it. And he says like these two would fight over the affection of the Acorn Princess. And then he says that for Jeffrey, the Acorn Princess would have been one of his many conquests, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But he enjoyed teasing the blue spiky creature over wanting to fuck this girl. And I'm like, what, Ken? Why is that here?
I've been googling. I've been googling the Lara Sue Chronicles like nudity and stuff, and this came up and this isn't from it, but the art is legitimately better.
Oh no,
God!
Wasn't there talks of Kim Penders also trying to like re-release the Archie comics underneath like his own comic brand name or something
Wait,
like
the
that?
one on the right straight up has her genitals out. Oopsie, that's not going on stream.
So to explain this, yeah. So basically, so the actual lawsuit, like he didn't win the lawsuit; they settled out of court. And so one of the things they settled on was that one, he can reprint any of his stories, so he can technically reprint, and he's currently making a Knuckles omnibus, so he's going to collect all of the Knuckles stories. So any story that he wrote, he can reprint legally. He just can do that, as long as the cover doesn't look like anything Sonic related, which is why the cover for the Lara Sue Chronicles Begin is actually a Spaz cover from the original series. So he just redrew it, removed Sonic. Knuckles doesn't look anything like Knuckles, and so now he can sell these Sonic stories.
For the British in the crowd, by the way, Spaz refers to Patrick Spaziante. He's not just calling these Spaz covers. Because that's a disability slur in the UK.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Well, that's
it's okay. No, don't worry about it. It's all good. I know.
But yeah, so
Spaziante, just shortening his name. Yeah,
and that's just like he literally signs all his covers with that. Anyway,
yeah.
So going forward, then, basically, Penders' claim is that one of the reasons it took him so long to make all this, and I believe this part, is because he was like, well, and this is why he was also going to do like Lara Sue NFTs and stuff, is that by testing the waters of like trying to like basically make profit off of the Sonic thing, or the Sonic adjacent thing, as long as Sega hasn't like taken like any action towards him, then now that he's released like this, and if they don't do anything about this, if they ever came after him otherwise, he could say legally, he could be like, well, you didn't come after me when I was making, this stuff before, which means you allowed for it. And so he can use that in court, blah, 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 blah. But his big claim is basically that since Ian Flynn never actually, so he owns the character Robo Robotnik. And if you don't know, in the Archie Sonic comic, the original Robotnik dies. He turns into the Eggman design, and he is technically a Robotnik from an alternate reality who killed his Sonic and came over here. So, and that's a Ken Penders character. So whenever the series got rebooted, the character still had memories from their old timeline. And so technically, Robo Robotnik is kind of in the reboot. And so according to Ken, since Robo Robotnik is like in the whole comic, technically these are still characters that they are using without paying him. And since Sega does not give a crap about the Archie Sonic comics, they didn't even show up to the lawsuit. They made Archie do it for them. He is basically going out on a limb and saying that they won't do anything to me. Technically, these are still my characters and in stories that I made, and they've disowned this stuff anyway. So fuck it. I'm just going to do it. So that's his big plan.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, go ahead.
I kind of support him in that. I'm not gonna lie, I do support that. Like, because Sega have money on the table here that they could easily make, and they've been perfectly happy to just sweep 24 years of history under the rug, stuff that actually meant something to people. And Ken is out here, for better or for worse, bringing it back. I kind of have to support him in that. I've been saying someone needs to publish this, and if he's gonna do it, fair enough. He kind of has my respect for kind of being like, use it or lose it, Sega,
Yeah, that's kind of the idea he's going for. Now, he's saying he's going to be able to do the whole series. And he's also saying that he wants to not like he's being very professional about this. He's saying like, I'm not just going to like, for example, Scott Shaw. He's making a Scott Shaw collection, which is all the stories that were drawn by him. And he's saying like, I'm going to get in contact with every single person who worked on individual issues, whether it's the artists or the writers, and they will get money from these reprints. I am not just taking all the money myself. So his thing is that he's going to basically get in contact with every single creator and then try to give them the money. Now, he is saying that eventually he's going to work his way up to Ian Flynn, of course, right? So he can do Preboot. Now, this is where this is not going to happen, because there is no way that Flynn is going to say, oh yeah, definitely, I definitely want in on this reprint scheme you have that could get us in very hot water. Also, he has a relationship with Sega that he doesn't want to ruin, so even if it's perfectly illegal, he's not going to do this. So Ken says that he's going to try to reprint the whole comic and like do all this, but he's going to hit a roadblock once he hits the Flynn era, like definitely.
Yeah.
So,
And
you know, we'll see where this goes. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. But even the downside of this is the best stories of the Archie Sonic run. And that's not to say that Ken didn't write good stuff for Bowlers or Gallagher, but the run that everyone wants to see reprinted, who cares about this stuff, even that's probably not going to happen, unfortunately. So that's kind of the rundown of all that stuff. Hope any of that made sense.
It is funny though, because I've seen like Penders has been getting a lot more like hate recently on the timeline from a lot of Sonic fans, kind of painting him out to be this boogeyman. And it's like, again, I don't think he seems like a cool guy, especially with like how he did. What was the name of the fella with the sad AM?
Ben Hurst. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with how he did Ben Hurst dirty back in the day. Like, there's a lot of reasons to not be a fan of him, but in this case, in this instance, it's all on Sega. They could get that back. They could lawyer up and get it all back and figure it out. They're not interested. Right. They're not interested in these characters. No. They're not interested in how much you fucking love these characters. They don't give a fuck about your child. Green Hill. Sorry, they don't give a fuck about your childhood. So that's on them. And not to mention Ken.
They give a fuck if they can monetize, if they can make money off of it.
But they can, and they don't. So it's so weird. Ken Penders, like, he won those lawsuits down to Sega being so hands-off and Archie being outright incompetent in those lawsuits and not bringing their receipts and stuff. At the end of the day, Ken Penders hasn't really even done anything wrong in that instance. Has he?
Oh, as far as like all the Sonic stuff, no, I think he's like perfectly within his rights for everything he's done so far. Like, again, he can legally reprint any of his old Sonic stories, because I always thought that when he reprinted the 25 years later that he would have to like remove Sonic or like change the names or whatever. But no, it's perfectly intact. And by the way, so all this information that I know about this stuff is due to Bobby Schroeder, which you can find on Twitter, and her Tumblr is called Thanks Ken Penders, and she has an entire like section just dedicated to explaining everything about the lawsuit, all the behind the scenes stuff. So that's where I know all this stuff. So definitely go support her if you need to look into that stuff. And she did a whole review on this and going over like every single detail as to why the Lawsuit Chronicles beginning is like dog water. But yeah, no, as far as like legality goes, he's pretty much in the clear. And morally, I mean, like I said, I still believe that like comic creators in general, when you sign on to make a thing, if you come up with a character, I think you should get some money for that. It should be your character. It's the same way how I really hate that when you try to pitch a show to a network, even if they don't pick up your show, they own your pilot and you can never make that show again or pitch it to anyone else.
That fucking
it's
sucks.
Like that's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's just dirty.
So Ken being able to do this, go for it, man. You know.
We've all been hating the wrong guy, man. He's the underdog in all this. I mean, he's not very likable, but he's.
I mean, this is
I don't know if I would.
I still the thing is, there's some things I'm listening in on this. I'm like, that's commendable. I wanted to reach out to the previous writers and artists and give them their due diligence and whatnot. The thing is that he's still like treading very like you said, very hot waters, like regarders.
Yep.
Yep.
And it could potentially get those guys in trouble too, couldn't it? Theoretically.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the other thing. It's like, oh, are they going to be punished for signing on and accepting whatever payment from those re-releases?
But again, remember, he didn't even win the lawsuit. This wasn't put into they settled, so it's not even like there's like legal, like that's why he was saying like the reason it took so long is because he needed to know if Sega could make a move and say, actually, we are going to sue you, Ken. So he needed to create a legal precedent for himself as a safety net, even though he's being all pomp and circumstance and being like, I have these characters, right?
Well, like, to be fair, that safety net doesn't really mean much in my opinion, because it's like, I mean, Sega's kind of doing the same thing with Penders as what Sega has done with like other people that have like used the IP, quote unquote, in the past. Like they never sued the Sonic Omen team.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So it's like, like I think it's just a thing where it's like Sega are now just kind of like being kind of careful and picking their battles. But that doesn't mean that there's going to be some like kind of legal safety net where it's like, oh, well, you didn't sue me for this, so you can't sue me for that. That's not how that works. Like anything is grounds to be sued upon if they
Yeah, you
deem it
gotta make
as
a
a
good
threat.
argument.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they deem it as a threat, that's the thing. Like if they saw Sonic Omens as like I'm using that as an example because that's like a very like topical example that a lot of people are familiar with. If they use that as like if they saw that as like a threat to their game sales,
They
then
can do
like
something.
absolutely yeah, absolutely they would have done something. But they're not. They don't think the Laura Sue Chronicles are a threat to the IDW stuff, just like they don't view Sonic Omens as a threat to the game stuff. But if it ends up getting to the point where they do find that to be a threat, then they
And they
can
can
do
use all of them.
something. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
exactly. So like I still don't understand Pender's frame of reference or like I guess like way of thinking here because it's like you're still kind of like you're still at the helm and at the mercy of this company, and you really don't even have to be. You could take these same
Yeah.
stories that you had for these characters and just do something completely transformative and completely different, and
Well,
probably not even get as much like flack out of it. But like
the fact
he,
the fact
yeah,
that the 25 years later thing is done, that should be it. That and like that was what it was supposed to be. Is that I want to reprint the story with Lara Sue makes sense because I want people to have the backstory of everything that I'm going to build upon, and then just never touch it again. You're in the clear, dude. So like the fact that he's
yeah,
like kicking the hornet's nest is crazy.
yeah, and it's like, what's the point, Because he's getting a lot of flack from a lot of the Sonic people. So it's like, why not just do something completely on your own? And then like the people who are like your haters, quote unquote, can just yell at a wall because they have nothing to, complain about now at this point. And the people who are fans of you can just eat it up because they like your work regardless. I like the thing. I just don't understand why it's like you're putting all your eggs in this one basket, and it's a very flimsy basket. It's made out of like straw with like no glue. So it's like I don't know.
Well,
What
I
kind of chickens does he
when
hope
people
will
question
hatch?
him on this, when people
yeah.
question him on this, he says that's what lawyers are for, and I know things. So
That's what lawyers are for, dude. You're seeing you're not untouchable. Like, what are you doing? Like you're not like you're not like this like untouchable person who has like mountains of money. You're a comic book artist and a comic book writer. Like I'm not
to
trying
be
to
fair,
like
he
discount.
Trey,
probably feels
Trey,
untouchable.
I'm not trying to
listen,
discount what
Trey,
he does. But
Trey,
like,
have you
comic
never
book writers?
Have you never
What's up?
gone for a walk along a green hill and come across a little monitor with some sparklies on it? Have you never done that before? He
Of
must
what?
have
What are
done
you?
that. That's why he's
What
doing
do
what
you?
he's doing.
Are you trying to do a whole like if you walked 1,000 miles in his shoes thing? Or, like,
No, I'm saying he found an
these green
invincibility
hills.
monitor and he's just using it.
he found okay. He found an invincibility monitor and it lasted longer than 20 seconds. Is that what you're trying to say, pup?
He has the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah. You know what? He does kind of look like Eggman. He's like
I
a-
would
he's
I
like
would
a-
say he's got some serious emeralds doing what he's doing. Like I'm like man, paint me
He-
blue and
he-
shave
he's
my
got-
Sphinx. He's doing it. Like
he's got some blue balls from Sonic 3. All right, like that's just uh, I I don't know. I guess like the more I hear about it, I just don't really understand like his way of thinking because like I'm gonna
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
I'm gonna this is more of a personal thing. Personally, I'm kind of getting away from doing Sonic centric content just like altogether.
how's that
And
fan
the
game coming, by the
reason
way?
and
It's going to be very freeing for you. Just saying.
the thing is that like I've realized that I just have way more fun putting my efforts into more of like stuff that I've come up with. Even though some people may not find it the best or whatever, I don't care. It's still mine. It's still like and that goes for music. That goes for game development. Yes, I am making a cute little Sonic fan game or whatever, but I'm also using that as experience to develop, you know, something original, and transformative. Like
Sonic
I don't know.
Frontiers.
So you're
No.
you're saying from a creative mind, you also don't understand him because you're thinking it's like you've been someone who's been attached to Sonic in these other ways, and obviously Ken's been attached to Sonic in many ways. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to distance yourself from that and just do your own thing? Which
Yeah.
I would say is probably because maybe deep down he knows that people don't actually care about this outside of the fact that it's a weird Sonic extension thing. So
He's
I
probably
think
trying to, you leverage kind of his history on this thing. And again, he knows that this outrage stuff is a thing. And he's kind of leveraging that. At the same time, I'm going to say this. Like, as someone who went to, like, film school and stuff like that, left, right, and center across the board, people are always saying, do original things. You know, you'll never go legit if you just make fan stuff. But sometimes I just want to make fan stuff. Like, sometimes that's just what I want to do.
It's all about fulfillment, right? I'm not
Yeah.
saying that he's wrong for doing like or being a fan or doing fan stuff. I'm not gonna say that anyone's wrong for doing that or whatever that or that they're wasting their time, quote unquote. I think for Penders though, he's in this weird middle ground where it's like he's doing something that's like kind of original but still this thing adjacent. Like it's almost like an AU or
It's also
alternate
not
universe.
really even a fan project at this point. It's something he's trying
Yeah.
to sell. So I suppose I
So
can
it's
see
like
that.
why not just go all the way? Why not just like shoot
Yeah.
for the stars with this and just go all the way? Like forget what anyone else thinks about it or whether or not you're going to get some notoriety, quote unquote. Like you'll never know unless you just, go that extra step,
It is
Like,
insane to me, though, that, like, Evil Sonic and Robo Robotnik are things he technically owns. It's like, I could theoretically just make Sonic, but he's 1 foot taller. Like, at the end of the day, like,
Yeah,
my
you really
Sonic is different. He's a little taller.
I think that's where I'm getting at here because obviously fan stuff I have zero problem with because like I've been in that field too and like I love doing that stuff and it's cool seeing people like game developers, musicians like take something that's like that we all love and make something cool out of that. That's awesome. But Penders doesn't really fall in that line for me, He's someone who wants to try to do something original but is still trying to hold on to his fan base from the Archie days like as tightly knit as possible and trying to give them something as well. And half of me is just like, dude, just like go all the way with your original stuff. Just like
Well, I think also you might want to consider from his perspective, he thinks like I don't want to say what he thinks, but he has talked about. I'll say what he's spoken to. A lot of the stuff that he gave to Knuckles, obviously didn't exist. So for him, he kind of like his version of Knuckles and like that world isn't really a Sonic thing anyway, where it's like, sure, that's Knuckles owned by Sega TM, but like the version of Knuckles that is in Archie, his world, his family, his life, what the floating island even is, how it functions, that's all his stuff. So maybe in his head, it's kind of coming from the place of like, I'm not trying to hold on to Sonic, I'm holding on to my story that I wrote. And sure, Knuckles was the foundation, but everything about Knuckles is mine, even if it's just not the design and the name, right? So maybe from his perspective, he would disagree with that and be like, well, I'm not basing it on Sonic. I'm basing it on my stories that I wrote that just happen to have the character of Knuckles from the Sega games. So I don't know. It's interesting.
But he also has to kind of think as well. It's like, I guess from a marketing perspective and from like a consumer perspective, like they see Knuckles and they think of like a Sega property. They don't think of like a Penders property, So it's like,
yeah.
so he has to also think like, yeah, people who are going to look at this are going to think this is a Sega thing. Like almost like not being devious with it or being like or lying, quote unquote, but like still trying to still trying to be like sly about it a little bit to where it's like, oh, like, I can still like pull people in who have no idea about this whole like semantics thing because it is a lot of semantics at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and
I
those
think he's
semantics
still-
got the lawsuit.
The more I'm looking at images of this, the more I absolutely despise how the dreadlocks on the echidnas are different to their hair.
Oh, they're all hideous. Look,
They're like
Well, they're
tentacles, and then they've got a
supposed to be- yeah,
different
well,
hair
that's-
color. Like,
Oh, that's the thing. They're supposed to be tentacles, right? Like they're supposed to be just aliens. They're not even
Yeah,
really
they're-
supposed
they're-
to. Be,
no,
like,
they're meant to be dreadlocks.
in Pender's world, they're meant to be tentacles.
They're
Like in
hideous.
Pender's world, they're meant
But
to be something
also-
different.
The pink one, I'm guessing that's Julie Sue? Or is
Yeah,
that
that's
Lara
Julie
Sue? Julie Sue's hair color and body color completely clash.
Well, a lot of the Archie Sonic characters that were original, they like the original Julie Sue design. She has hair and the quills, but when you have to actually have like a really good artist working on it, you don't even notice it. Like it doesn't even clock in your brain. It's just the way he draws. It's just not.
He makes the separation.
The thing is, clearly wants to draw humans.
Yes,
but he's forcing himself to make them anthropomorphic, which does not work.
Like,
just make him human.
He got hired at Archie because he actually is decent, or at least used to be decent at drawing humans, like drawing anatomically correct humans. So
yeah, that's where he came from.
So this is also part of my argument. It's that you're obviously comfortable drawing like human characters. Just make something that complements your strengths. That way you can create a better product that like is not only going to complement your drawing style, but also your writing style and all this other stuff. You know, like I guess like I don't know, from a creative perspective, like I want all of my best I guess like prospects about myself to be pushed forward first. So if I'm better at drawing this, or I'm better at, you know, doing this style or whatever, then I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna capitalize on that and keep going. Like
yeah,
he's
Puff
way
has it,
better.
right?
Yeah, he's way better at drawing human characters or humans just in general than he is at drawing Sonic characters, because Sonic characters are very exaggerated in the hands and feet. They're animals and everything, and like he just doesn't know how to necessarily do that. And to his credit, a lot of artists that did work on Archie didn't know how to really do that either. A lot of like a lot of the artists that were on Archie were great in terms of like drawing Marvel or DC character stuff like that, but whenever it came to like very stylized, like, you know, animal characters like Sonic, they just didn't really know how to, you know, transfer their skills to that, and that's their own thing, you know. So I can't even really fault Penders in that aspect. But nowadays, you know, like millions of artists can draw Sonic characters pretty well, or, you know, whatever. Uh, but with Penders, like he's good at drawing, you know, human characters, or at least better at drawing human characters. Like he had one drawing of like Spider-Man, and I'm like, that actually doesn't look half bad. Like honestly,
well,
and like
I just sent in the back rooms. I have images from an issue that he drew, and like this looks good.
yeah, it doesn't, like Knuckles looks weird, but like the human characters don't look terrible, you know.
And I think that's the thing is he doesn't really do the noodle limb thing, and like when you take noodle limbs away from Sonic characters, it doesn't really work. But yeah.
He did draw one image of Shadow that actually, it's like the only image of Shadow he ever drew, and it actually looks really good. And so I'm like, well, what happened with that? I'll try to find it. But yeah, no, like, well, so the fun fact, he did actually draw Shadow another time, and it's very funny. He was like, oh, I did this for a fan who came up to me at Comic-Con, and he literally just traced the Sonic or Dark Chronicles Shadow design, which is I have to believe was intentional, given that's the game he sued over, and he just traced it. And then
that's
people
such
were like,
hater energy.
yeah, they were like, dude, you literally just traced that. And he's like, look, a true professional gets the job done, you know.
That's another thing I will say is like seeing like his history of like how he's dealt with clients and stuff does make me not like Penders either. So despite like kind of all my joking about here, I still find Penders to be quite an objectionable person. But at the same time, when it comes to like the re-release of Archie Sonic, someone's got to do it. Like,
So I mean, and that's fair for preservations. Yeah, that Shadow doesn't look terrible. I think the perspective on his face is still a little weird. But like, that's that. Other than that,
I hate his lip. Get rid of the lip. Sonic characters should not have lips.
Sonic characters with lips, like obviously no go.
No, because there was a new.
Where it's like,
sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say I do agree with Pop in the prospect of like these things need to be preserved. Whether doesn't matter how you feel about them, they need to be preserved. That's part of the reason why I want Sonic Extreme to be preserved, because I'm like I'm curious about it. I know it probably won't be the best thing I've ever played, but I think it'll still be pretty cool to like have it and to preserve it and stuff like that. Same with the Archie stuff, because a lot of the old Archie comics, like if you're a collector, they're starting to go up in price a little bit because they're nowhere else to be found. So, and that sucks.
A lot of people that don't really care about the Archie or the Freedom Fight and stuff will try and downplay it and stuff, but it's like, think of it like this. Right. The business practice Sega are doing here would be like if Sony, when they got Tom Holland as Spider-Man, suddenly stopped releasing Blu-rays of the Tobey Maguire and Andrew
Right.
Garfield films. Or like look at it this way, like, you know, say you grew up with Sad AM and Archie, and Sally Acorn's your favorite character, but like now she's, you know, doesn't exist. Put this into perspective. People keep saying Sally fans, get over it. Let's put it into perspective. There's a changing of the guard at Sega, new management, new canon, but like they're still kind of continuing with the same canon, but it's like new canon, but they will never acknowledge or ever show Shadow the Hedgehog ever again. That's it for
because his story is over. We don't need to tell anymore. So shelf
it
him.
doesn't fit our timeline that we want to do now. He doesn't fit the new vision. So it's like Shadow the Hedgehog, not only is he never going to appear again in a new thing, you can't even buy the old stuff either. It's never acknowledged. You go into a museum menu in the latest Sonic compilation thing, Shadow will never be mentioned ever again. He is completely irrelevant. Think about how that would feel before going, haha, Archie fans, this doesn't matter, no one fucking cares. Just think about it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I used to be in the camp of like, because I never really cared for the Archie stuff. I tried to get into it whenever I was younger, and I had some issues, but
I didn't used to.
Like Archie was one of those like comic series where it's like it was very referential of like it assumes you've read everything pretty much.
Yes.
Because there was a lot of asterisks that were like, read Knuckles Knuckles comic number 22 to understand what this references, and you know, stuff like that. And I was just like, oh my god, this is like very overwhelming. But like later on, you know, I've also noticed how people have like treated like, you know, Metal Sonic, for example. You know, I'm not a fan of how Metal Sonic's been treated recently, and that kind of gave me a little bit of a taste of like, oh dang, like I don't want Metal Sonic to just be an irrelevant character. You know, same with the Freedom Fighters. Like, I'm not saying that they necessarily have to be relevant, but they have to be preserved. I'd like for them to be preserved in some way.
Yeah, at least
rather than
acknowledged as a
just
part
be-
of Sonic's history.
Yeah, at least acknowledged. You know, I feel like I feel like I've been taking up a lot of air. You know, so I do apologize.
No, you're good. You're good.
but,
It's-
No, you're good. It's been fun.
Okay. Yeah, like
That's
I guess just a thing where it's like you know, I recognize that these things should be preserved. I just wish it wasn't Penders.
Doing
I
it.
think,
for
yeah,
alone.
it's an inconvenient truth, isn't it? Like,
Him
yeah.
running this is kind of like, oh, yay! I'm gonna cheer from the sidelines.
Yeah.
Just- You do you.
That's my thing where it's like I kind of do wish that Sega and Archie could at least like patch things up at least a little bit. That way they can just like re-release this stuff, even if they have to do it like in bulk, like those like
Omnibus.
Archie 1 through 50 like big books.
or
that they
if
used to
like
have and
Sega
whatnot.
could just make a deal with Penders, because I believe it's Penders that's standing in the way here. Like, because IDW
Well, Penders
were
has said
able.
multiple times that he would easily like work with Sega. He's just like,
Yeah.
he said they know my email and no one has ever contacted me. So
And it's like, at some point, it's like, whether you like Penders or not based on other things, you got to acknowledge that the ball is absolutely in Sega's court here. IDW procured the license to the Archie Ninja Turtles comics to republish them. So if Sega wants to,
Yeah,
they can play ball with Penders.
that's true.
Like, he probably, I don't even know what he asks for. Like, that's the thing, is a lot of us jump to conclusions about Penders, but we don't even know what he's asking of Sega if they want to do this deal with him. So, like, there's really, it strikes me as asinine on Sega's part. I might be critical as Penders, but I am much more critical of Sega for just letting this languish like that.
well, and I wanna point out too, I would apply the same sentiment to Fleetway, because Fleetway definitely deserves to be preserved. It's in like
Yeah,
way worse of
definitely.
a state. It's like in way worse of a state as far as like people remembering it and talking about it, or you know, how long it went, because it, you know, it got cut short, you know, whatever. So those definitely need to
Yeah.
be preserved and
And Fleetway
re-released.
doesn't even have a Penders, so it goes to prove that Penders ain't the problem.
Oh yeah, they just frankly, they just don't care. They don't want these things. They think it would hurt the brand and the identity. And I think Pup mentioned this once, which is that you really could just re-release them and just say like, you know, Sonic's Mobian Adventures, and you just put it on the thing of like, hey, you know that Sonic's had many adventures over the years, but did you know in like 1992 through 2017 or whatever, Sonic had a separate comic, and this is a collection of those things. You know, they don't like I even have a little thing here. It's like the Donald Duck collection or whatever. And it collects all these
Mhm.
like Donald Duck comic strips. And on the thing, it says like, hey, these were made from this time to this time. Hey, some jokes might feel out of date, obviously, or like, I think they
Right.
literally say like Donald wouldn't fly with that now, but they said we want to preserve these things. We don't want to shy away from our
Right.
history and these comics, and now I have it. And it's in a hardback book. It has a very distinct cover. You look at that and you go, oh, that's old Donald. And then you look at it, you open it up, and there you go. It's not complicated. People can read. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
feel like
also like I feel like we're just now getting to a point where Sega is like they're finally ceasing to being embarrassed about like their past. Like with Shadow Generations, bringing it back around to Shadow Generations, like they're acknowledging Black Doom. They're acknowledging Shadow 05, and like 5 years ago that would have never happened, right?
I
So
would
I think
say, considering
Yeah,
the
but-
long way to go they've got, I would say they have just got their trainers on.
Yeah, and
well,
I
that's what I'm
feel like
saying. Yeah. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
yeah. So I was going to say on that point though, I feel like they are still like, even though they are definitely trying to look back and be like, okay, now look at all our history. We're actually accepting all this stuff. Like here's some stuff from '06 in the new game that's coming out. Like
Right.
you'll never see this before. With them refusing to even touch Archie, it makes you think maybe they are still like curating the history that they want people to see. Like you can't, because
Oh, for sure.
06 and Shadow, that's never going to disappear. Like that is infamous. Everyone in the
And
gaming
they
sphere
made
knows about it. Everyone knows about that, but not nearly as many people know about Archie. So they're
Well,
going to
I
be like, okay, let's not have people know about this, but yeah, we'll accept this stuff that is very well known. But this
thing
more
I
like, niche
suggested-
Archie stuff, they're like, no.
The thing I suggested in my video on kind of like how, overprotectiveness of the brand is kind of a problem was I kind of mentioned that it's like, okay, if they really are at a point where they are so chicken shit over certain stories, they can release compendiums of just the best stuff. Like, it's still better than nothing. Release like Sonic Best of the Archie Years Volume 1. You could have some Michael Gallagher stuff, you could have Mecha Madness. And then you could, have a
agree.
book that kind of completes, a lot of the pre-boot, the late pre-boot era and the Ian Flynn stuff. And that way you just get the best stories of each Archie era, effectively. They could bring it back.
They also have no excuse not to reprint Reboot. This is the thing, right? So I adore Preboot. It's like my favorite Sonic thing. But Reboot, and so Reboot I think is like, it's like pretty okay. It's pretty good. It's got some good stuff in it. But Reboot is like exactly what I would want a Sonic comic to be like in the modern era. Because for those who don't know, the way Reboot works is basically it takes place in the Sonic Unleashed world. So like all the planet, like all the continents are there or whatever. And
It's still
in each of
Mobius,
these
though, isn't it?
continents, no, it's Sonic's world now.
Damn,
But
okay.
yeah, so in this timeline, you have basically all the games happened, but also Sonic is friends with the Freedom Fighters. He knows them. He didn't grow up with them. He's still Sonic where he travels around. But the Freedom Fighters existed as a little kingdom that he met, and like Sonic is one to do, he met them when he was a lot younger. He teamed up with them. They were his friends. And so now the Freedom Fighters, Sonic is a part of the Freedom Fighters in the sense that they are a team that he helped inspire and he helps them and stuff. But then also Sonic will just wander off and go off on different adventures. And as we go around the world in this timeline, we see that, for example, the, Breezy, who is like from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, she is now integrated to where she was there during Sonic Heroes and during the Sonic Game Gear games, where basically she was helping Scratch and Grounder help Dr. Eggman capture Tails and stuff. And then during Sonic Heroes, Metal Sonic gave her the Casino Night Zone, and so she was using that since she's been a henchman for Eggman for so long. And now in the modern day, Breezy has taken advantage of the fact that she had the Casino Night Zone and become like a gambling mogul or whatever, and she has all this money and all this stuff. And so this ties in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, the Game Gear games, and the modern games, and ties it all into this one cohesive universe where all these things exist, and Sonic can just travel to every single one of them. And to
As
me, that
also in the
is
Unleashed world.
exactly what I want IDW to be. And they won't even
think-
reprint that.
Yeah, I think that's cool because it not only connects everything, but they put all their toys back. So like if like anytime you try to add something to existing continuity, you gotta make sure that everything still lines up as if that didn't exist in the first place too. Like everything is like you have to make sure everything is cohesive and put all your toys back to where they were before. I think like this is something it's so funny because like how I was able to like I guess like view this there was like a band called REM. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar. They were very popular in the 90s.
Oh, I could never have
they
heard
had-
of REM. It's the end of the world as we did. Like, what could that be? Oh, Very niche.
Oh, they're an older band. They're an older band, pup. All right.
I don't know if you've ever heard of a band called Queen. A little subtle, but
Shut up. Like REM's not as big as Queen, but
no, they're not as big as Queen, but they're not exactly small potatoes, are they? They're REM.
They're not. No, yeah, they are REM, and they're fantastic. They had one song, I forgot which song, but they personally didn't like the song, but they weren't going to say that the fans were wrong for liking that song, if that makes sense. Like I want to say it's I forgot which song it was. It was a very popular song that they had, but like, and they didn't personally like playing it, but they also acknowledged that like they had fans that liked that song, and they weren't going to say that they were wrong for liking it. So it's the same. So it's the same principle here, where it's like, yes, this body of work may not represent who you are at this moment, but that doesn't mean it never existed, and that doesn't mean that people who like it are wrong for liking it. You know what I mean? Like,
Or that there might be a new generation of people who would find something that they would love about Sonic the Hedgehog and become a lifelong fan.
I mean that too.
I mean,
it goes.
It is
two different
Sega
ways.
really,
Yeah,
you
for
know, saying what we should and shouldn't like when it comes to Sonic. That is ultimately the message that they're putting across, and it's just terrible in my opinion. Like, it's just asinine. The way, like, Sega's mentality towards Archie, it needs to change, man. It really needs to change. But yeah,
like
But I think,
I'm fed up.
Like,
of
it does boil down to. I feel like at some point it's management stuff. At the higher end, I think it does
Yeah.
come up to management and who runs it right now. I feel like they probably are the main.
Someone's
the main
gonna
causing
quit
factor as to
someday,
why it's doing this.
and then someone's gonna take their job, and it'll be a bit better, hopefully. I don't know.
all it takes is one person having the right amount of power and the right enough sway, and like it can change overnight. But we do know for a fact that so in the early IDW comics, Sonic says like, "Oh, the rough and tumble make the hooligans look cozy." And if you don't know, the hooligans are Knack, Bean, and Bark, and that is a name specifically given to them during the Archie universe. So it seems that
Yeah.
that got past. That got past like the Sega overlords or whatever. But then when they figured out what it was in reference to, apparently Flynn was told, "Don't you ever mention that again." So even
Wow.
even something as innocuous as an Archie specific name for Knack, Bark, and Bean, it's like they are classic characters. That's an Archie thing. Don't you dare. So he has never mentioned it again in the comic.
That's actually hilarious. I actually didn't know that.
But let's
what was
just
I gonna say?
let's purely take that at face value and say, yeah, Archie's canon now. Let's just go with that.
Yeah,
Sonic
Well,
was like, "Shit, would you
perfect.
ever think about how Archie's canon?" He goes, "What?" And it just continues.
here's another layer to all of this, and I think this has a bigger impact than what people like to think. But like, Sally Acorn fans, Rally for Sally, like that ended up putting a huge stain on Archie fans just as a whole. It really did. Like it ended up like really tainting, I guess, like the entire like prospect of Archie Sonic and how these fans feel about,
Yeah, I
Sally
believe up
Acorn and
until
the
like
whole,
some of
property.
the behaviors of those folks, I believe Ian Flynn was really championing for IDW to get its own version of Sally to be not necessarily playing the same role as she did
Yeah.
before, but just be in there, you know.
At least like not ignoring it or not like, you know what I mean, like because Ian Flynn has been pro like Archie in terms of like, at
Yeah,
least getting some.
Those were the
way to,
days
like,
when he was able to
know-
work on it freely, you know. Like, of course, he's probably gonna miss that stuff. Like, he's probably gonna want to champion for that kind of thing to be brought back.
He's the reason they are in Reboot, because when it got rebooted, they said, "Hey, can you like get rid of all of it?" And he basically said like, "Well, technically they can be grandfathered in due to like the original contract of Archie, basically." So like he fought for the Freedom Fighters to even exist in Reboot. So like he
And
cares.
he's getting more and more
he does
sway
care.
over at Sega. Like, the fact that they got him onto the games is progress. I'd like to think maybe the tides will change someday. But, like, right now, we're at such a grim point that Ken Penders is the hero that we need right now.
Kim Penders is the savior of Archie. I'm gonna.
what will the history
Ken
books
Penders is
decide?
a bastion
Yeah.
of creative freedom, and I love him for it. I don't know. Shall we get on over to Super Chats?
Yeah, we can move on.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Is it
Yes,
red
I
line or
probably
red?
do have to leave a little bit sooner than because how many super chats we got? Or I don't know.
we got quite
let
a
me check,
few,
actually.
and I do want to give people the opportunity to take part in the call-in session if they want. So if you want to do that, now's the time to get in the queue. And that is in the Discord server. But if not, fine. Yeah. So
Get
I'll
in
just-
urged.
I will start copy pasting these little guys over into the super chat mailbag. You guys talk amongst yourselves in the meantime.
Hello, everyone.
This was an experience. I was here for so much of it.
Sorry, I talked over a lot of that.
No, I felt like I was talking a lot as well. So like,
Guys, it's a podcast. Why the
lot to
fuck
say.
are you apologizing for talking on a podcast?
because we have 5
I-
people on, and I want
I'm
everyone
sorry,
to have their
listeners.
thing.
It doesn't
Yeah.
I'm
matter
so
what
sorry,
Tom Topics
listeners.
has to say. He's shit.
I care about what Tom Topics has to say.
That
I
you're
like his insight
lying.
on things.
Tom, don't
All
listen
right?
to him, man. Remember, everyone that ever said anything nice about you's lying. Remember that.
You told
not
me
true.
you told me I was like a brother to you.
Hey, I said that in confidence, and now you're saying it on a live stream, you
You
bastard.
called him brother.
brother.
You busted. You busted.
Brother.
But
isn't
no,
the
I had
same way
I had
that,
a great time
brothers
being on
hate
this.
each
So
other.
thanks for having me as usual.
Of course.
Oh
of
yeah,
course.
same here.
And besides, had we not had you on, I wouldn't have much to say about the whole Lara Sue Chronicle thing anyway, because I don't know much about it. I just know a little. So it's
Good
been
timing.
good kind of having the CEO of knowledge when it comes to that here. So,
And
What a title.
I know nothing about the comics, which is why I was quiet for the last half hour.
it's all
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
You've said enough, Frank.
Oh yeah,
You-
I've said enough. I
you
had
l-
to stay silent.
You logged your you logged your attendance.
I filled my quota by interrupting
I mean-
people earlier.
You still did more than Dylan, who I wish was a good friend.
Yeah,
he
I
was
wish
a good
Dylan was a good
too,
friend.
I wish
Yeah.
Dylan was a good friend.
I wish
All
he
right.
could, I wish he was a better connoisseur of food.
All
I
right,
did
so we're gonna.
quote tweet that, like in Twitter, like the
I saw.
advertisement.
I
Yeah.
saw.
I wish he would have responded, but I guess he really is a bad friend.
Okay, so we're gonna go table order. So Tom, you'll be the first reader of the bunch.
Oh shit. Right, is that
Your super
okay,
chat
Seaman?
mailbag channel. Yep, there you go. Yep.
Okay, right. Seaman with $2.99. I believe that's Australian, is it?
Well, I
It
mean,
is.
he literally
yeah.
says what the currency is in the super chat.
Oh yeah, dollary dues, of course, my mistake.
there you
Can't
go.
stick around today, so here's some dollary dues, Walker.
Well, thank you, Seaman.
Thank you for the dollar reduced semen.
Thank you for all your semen.
Oh, that's gross, Tom. You're
All your
disgusting.
semen super chats. Your semen super
Men
chats.
they wriggle their super chat in.
Did you ever show you guys that meme of like, what if we just shot out one gigantic sperm that you just had to stamp to death?
Oh
I-
god.
That's an Elden Ring boss.
I mean, it's not that big. It would be like, I don't know, like a 3-inch long sperm, and it's got like a little head. It just wriggles around on the floor, and you have to
I
stomp it out.
swear I saw one of those things in Shadow of the Erd Tree. I swear to God, it's there somewhere.
All right, Ian, you've got this next one, Borker.
All right, $10 from Arco. Hey boys, can't stay long, but just wanted to say that I hope you all have a good day. Much love. Heart emoji. Thank you.
Aw.
Hell yeah, thank you.
I'm glad that
Arco.
like, despite people can't stay that long, they're still like.
They're like, here's
still being
$10
given-
of my hard-earned cash.
I can't stick
I
around, so
appreciate you, absolutely.
I definitely didn't install like a payment system where you have to pay to miss an episode.
Does that apply to the hosts as well?
No. Yes. I wish Arco
Oh,
and C-Men
I
were
was
good
gonna say,
friends.
I was gonna say then I think Dylan owes us some money.
He does.
Yeah,
He's got his bad friend fees to
I-
play.
I didn't know we were adopting the Adobe way of doing things.
Fucking get him, Biden. Get him. So
That's what
next
I'm
up,
saying.
we got Twilord with €5. For a while, M&S cafes did rashers and American pancakes pup. It was really popular at my cafe in Dublin. Sadly, they changed the menu pretty randomly. Yeah, but M&S is like super spenny compared to IHOP. Like very spenny.
In
So-
Dublin. In Dublin.
Yes, in Dublin.
Dublin.
Thank you as
All right,
always
everybody
for
in
the
chat.
support, Twilord.
All right, chat.
Twilord.
Is it Dublin or Dublin?
I'm gonna
Let's get a poll going.
Or do
yeah,
Dublin.
run a poll.
It's Dublin because you get dubs there. Yours is Dublin because you put your pronunciation in the bin.
the blue. No, guys, you don't understand. There's not a space there, so it has to be Dublin.
Fuck off! Fuck off! That is not how we're doing this.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
It's not
I think-
Dublin.
You
I
only
hate
get
to admit
dubs
it,
in
but
this
I think
fucking
Trey might be
Dublin.
right for once.
Yeah.
All right.
Pop, your
So,
opinion is invalid.
Remember
just
when he was
stop talking.
remember when he was talking about like 2 different time meters?
yeah, that was so
Crazy.
silly.
Oh,
All
God.
right.
Yeah, I know. Who said that?
Okay. Franco, you're up. Borger.
Twilord with 5 euros. I
There you
believe
go.
that's what it is.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay, cool. I'm still trying to figure out the currency. Opposite of you snooze, you lose is early bird catches the plague, I guess.
That's actually really good.
Oh,
That's
right.
much better than get woke, go broke.
That's such a
That was pretty
stupid
funny.
saying.
I gotta say, that was pretty funny.
Way to go, Twilord.
That's how British people laugh, by the way.
What's up, British people?
I just
Trey.
I just imagine they do like a funny walk as they do it.
Trey, you're up.
Like Mr. Krabs. Where instead of the wood block, it's just oing, oing, oing. Sonic fan 1661 with $2 American dollar dues. Happy 4th of July. Thank you so much. So Sonic is high and his hallucinations manifest.
This
that's
is
Mario.
referring
What are you
to
talking
the
about?
this is referring to the rails in Frontiers being cyberspace manifestations.
Yeah.
The
Honestly,
ancients
like-
are weed.
The thing is, if we saw Sonic rolling a Fat J, like that would have made a lot more sense to the story as a whole, in my opinion.
They were,
Sonic
when
weed
they were
tears.
crying, when the ancients were crying about their planet being destroyed, that was because that was their biggest supply, and they were just so mortified.
That was their
about it
biggest
being
weed
gone.
supply.
Their marijuana
that entire
plantation was
place.
destroyed. That's what those crops were in Kronos Island with the bees. The
Literally.
bees just wanted to get baked.
They
They
just wanna
never
have a
thought
good
to
time.
just have other places for it. It was just one centralized location, and now it's gone.
Pretty much, so now they had to just go to the next best place.
Kronos is Weed Island.
It's close enough to the word chronic, so it works.
Tot.
Where are we?
Slang, but yeah.
Yeah.
Twilord.
Where?
Twilord. The last
Oh,
one
yeah.
to have a burger on it.
We're
Oh
here.
Lord, oh Lord. Okay, right. With
going
5
across new
euros.
frontiers.
Thank you, to Lord. Soon Pup won't be able to say anything about Ian Flynn without people shouting bias. Just smile knowingly, Pup.
Knowing
Winky face.
orgasm.
What's the
Bias.
what's the opposite of knowing smile? Is it like
Ignorant frown.
Ignorant frown.
oblivious
Confused
frown?
frown.
Okay. Oblivious frown.
No, it's
Unsure
like
frown.
it's like when my buddy Sam was like, "Hey, would you like a Budweiser?" I'm like, "No, mate, I have a Bud Ignorant." So
Yeah, but-
stupid. Everyone laugh now. Very funny.
Hold on, I got you.
No,
Oh,
wrong one. There we go.
That's a good one, but I hate it.
Oi, 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 oi.
The worst thing about looking at the soundboard is that I have no idea. The Kansas City ones, I have no idea if I want to play any of these. I probably don't.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I actually do have to get going. I gotta get ready for dinner.
Fine,
family.
Trey. Fine. Go on. You
I
and
know.
your hydrosity and your 2 time eaters. You're a 2-timer, is what you are. You
What?
go,
No.
he's gonna go hang with his. He's gonna go hang with his
Bold
preference.
accusation right there.
He's hanging with the
You-
preference. I wish Trey was a
I'm-
good friend.
I'm hanging with my
I wish
family.
Trey was a good friend.
Wish Trey was a
Well,
good friend.
enjoy
With
man.
my family.
Are we
Anyway,
not?
I wish Trey. I
You are
wish Trey was a
family.
good friend.
I
Okay.
wish
Trey.
Trey was a good friend.
Trey.
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 I love y'all. I
Trey.
love y'all. And I love you all in the chat.
Hell yeah.
Please say bye to
No,
me
you
before I
don't. Don't
cry.
lie to them. Don't fucking
Please.
see. Tom, remember when I said that Trey was just being nice to you? If he says that to the chat
No,
people
no,
he's
listen.
never even interacted with, that definitely means
That's not true. That's not true.
he's embellishing
here.
things. Tom,
That's not
you
true.
are
He's gonna type something right now.
you are mediocre at best, my friend.
I know, you've been telling me this for like nearly 5 years.
Yes.
I
It's become a point of routine. So, I mean, roll it off the tongue.
Look, if any of y'all want to chat, I'll be back in about like a couple hours. I'd love to still talk to y'all because I
mean,
do enjoy
Maybe
this.
if there's people around, we can do a Jackbox or something.
I'd be
That'd be
down
fun.
for that, to be
I'd
honest.
be
Although
down for that.
I'd be down for that, but I can't stay too long since I'm going to London tomorrow, so I got to get up early.
I wish Tom was a good friend.
I wish Tom was a good friend.
It's all the same
Good,
thing.
good meeting you, Trey.
I'll talk to y'all later. It was great meeting. It was great meeting you, Eden, and great talking to you again, Tom, and
Hell
Bob
yeah.
and Frank.
Whenever we can, hell yeah, it's always good.
It is always good. Much love to all of you. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right. You have a good one.
All right.
Have a
y'all
good
too.
one, Trey. I hope you enjoy
Bye.
spending time with your preference.
I will enjoy spending time eating sushi with my family. That's what we're gonna do.
Preference. He prefers his
nice.
family.
I love my family. What's wrong with that? Is that the next? Am I gonna get canceled
Ooh,
for that?
look at him. He
loving my
loves his
family?
family. How very conservative of you, Trey. How very conservative of you.
That's not conservative. I just
Family
love my
values. Family values, Trey.
Family
Really
values.
do.
I value my family.
Yeah, you know what you don't value? The
That's
breaking
right,
of gender norms. You love the new Norm TV series coming to X quite soon.
I want
hate
normal.
Sirius
Christ.
all the time. Me and Salty edge to it all the time. That's what we do. That's gonna sound so weird if no one knows what I'm talking about.
Clip it.
I
clip
want
it, clip
normal
it, clip
beer.
it. Clip it.
I want normal beer.
All right. Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Goodbye.
Well, Ian, seems you're up with the next super chat to have the Borker next to it.
All right. Is that euros?
Yes.
Okay. Twilord for €5. 5 guesses. No character. No character. Rouge cause a hunter moveset exists in Frontiers. Oh, Rouge because a hunter moveset exists in Frontiers. Doom form. Classic Shadow. The Death Spawn who plays like Mario and DK toys. I don't know the last one either, but hey, thanks for the 5.
Okay, I mean, there's some inspired ideas there. And I mean, yeah, like, they could easily do Rouge using the... I hope they don't, that's my job. But they could easily put Rouge in a future game using the Knuckles moveset. So, we'll
Yeah,
have
for
to
sure.
see. But yeah. Next up, it is my turn to speak. I have the speak.
Then talk.
Twilord, with another €2. Burning Shadow fights Time Doomer Super's Watch. Yeah, the idea that the two Supersonics, again, they're just like, we'll stick with the Time Eater, don't worry about it.
Huh, staying away from that fight.
Rank!
We're keeping our game Peggy 7.
Peggy? Peggy? Who threw out
Figure
this mayonnaise
Fortune
chart?
with $2.79 Canadian. What is the name of the starting soon song?
That is Chemical Plant from Sonic Rumble.
Yeah, I'm glad you chose the Sonic Rumble version because I do not want to listen to the Sonic Forces version.
It's alright, I don't really care. But I do prefer the Rumble one. It's very energetic.
The Sonic Rumble music is so good.
It is really good. I wish
Awesome.
Why can't they?
I wish Trey and
I wish
Dylan
they
were good
could do that.
friends.
Me too.
By the way, they said Time Doomer, Twilords above. That reminds me that in Reboot Archie Sonic, they couldn't use the Time Eater, so they created a spin-off creature that's like, I guess, like an alternate form of it, and it's called the Second Devourer, which is a cool name.
That's kind of way
That's
cooler.
stupid because I immediately thought of that.
Oh, there you go.
It's like, oh, what are they gonna call it? That's a sarcastic ass answer, but okay. You know what? I like that.
Well, so concludes the super chats, and there's no one in the call-in queue. I don't know if I've set it up wrong, or people just don't want to do that for now, or aren't ready for that kind of commitment. That's fine.
Trey's not
No
here, so
pressure,
they don't want to
no
talk to
worries.
us.
Trey, there's no Trey, and there's no forgotten his name.
You've forgotten names?
Yeah, what's the name of that little goober we used to have on here? You know, that little beta male.
Game apologist.
Yeah, that's the one. No, Game Apologist is the one who's got the pussy hurt. I mean the little
Gilly?
one. No, Gilly
Gilly?
is no. That's Gilly. He's a girl.
Yeah, poor Dylan. I would want to talk to Dylan too. I'm sad he's not here.
Oh, stupid Dylan. Yes, the one who is not a good friend.
At first he's nice, but then he stops being a nice friend.
Yeah, when you get to know him, he's a bad friend.
Well, darn.
I wish Dylan was a good
That's
friend.
Sunset City, everybody. Good night, everybody.
All right, Trey, what would you like to promote at the end of today's episode? Oh, that's right. You're not here. You can't do it.
What are we gonna promote for him?
He's got a channel.
There we go.
I'm not gonna say what it is, but he's got one. Hello there. Okay. Frank, you got stuff to promote?
Yeah, I got some stuff to promote. As always, I stream on my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel, and I am working on a video on Shovel Knight. I know I did stream it recently, but I have a lot more to say about it, so I'm in the middle of editing that, and it will hopefully be out by the end of the weekend.
No.
No, it's not? No.
I'm not gonna watch it. No, I'm not going to watch it. No.
Oh, no, but I'll go watch Channel
Yes.
Hub videos.
This feels one-sided. I'm always
It
putting
really
in
does
all the
feel like
effort. Okay.
Right.
Ian, what do you got for us?
Hi, I'm Ian Waffles. I don't do anything but star in other people's stuff, so you can find me co-writing videos on the channel Lowart, that's Lowart, where we talk about Archie Sonic recently. Otherwise, I also have a podcast I do with The Silver Ace, and you can find him on YouTube as well, where we're currently going over the pre-reboot era of Archie. We also went over the reboot era of Archie. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And there's the rest. Okay. Sorry, no. Tom. Tom.
Yeah.
Right, you've gone too far this time.
I can't be a transformer.
You've been attacked.
Ow.
Punch. Yeah.
Ow.
All right. Well,
See-
do you want to promote anything? Do you have anything to promote?
I guess just my regular Twitter. I think because I still do make art there. I just
Holy
post things
fuck.
regularly.
I'm coming.
Thanks for that.
Lois.
I'm glad to make you happy, Peter Griffin. But yeah, I just got
Sorry,
got
resume
my
that.
art stuff. I got my art stuff on Twitter, and I got a Kara now. But I have been thinking about maybe doing something on my channel at some point. I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I might try something again at some point. Can't
You need
guarantee
to send
anything
me the
more.
rest of the stuff for the collab.
Oh,
Release the collab if you don't send me the material.
I'm sorry that you took literally took over a year to get that done. Yeah. Oh.
Well, it's not anyone gonna ask what I'm up to.
No, you're mean about my videos. We don't get to.
I was not. No, I
It's just
was joking, dude. I was
Okay,
joking.
Channel Hub, what are you up to?
I wasn't joking. So,
What absolute
I
banger of... Oh, fuck you then. Nah, let's just go to the end.
no, I can't possibly say it now. Oh no! That would have been the perfect time to end the show, wouldn't it? But I didn't.
Yeah, I knew you weren't going to end it. Go ahead. What
Okay,
are you up to?
I don't know. I'm just gonna make a video at some point, I reckon.
Or Sorum, I believe you do that from time to time.
What was the last thing I did? I've completely forgot what my last video was. Oh, it was about when Xbox attempted to kind of do a sort of remaster of Sonic Generations and Unleashed. And for Unleashed it turned out good, for Generations not so good. Some people have said the video is pointless, but I don't think so. I think no.
Actually, that is not a remaster. That is an upgrade.
Yeah, and my toes are thoroughly unsucked. So get to work, everybody.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pay more for that.